It is 6:02. Good morning. I'm Jonathan Schaefer from the Superbook.com sports desk. Jalen Hurts threw for 380 yards and 3 touchdowns. A.J. Brown, 8 catches, 119 yards and 2 scores as the Philadelphia Eagles routed the Tennessee Titans 35-10 at Lincoln Financial Field. Philadelphia scored 21 unanswered points. The Titans' only touchdown, a 25-yard connection from Ryan Tannehill to Treylon Burks.
Here's the 3rd and 3 throw. Tannehill pumps, throws for the end zone. Ball is, did he catch it? There's a penalty marker in the end zone as Burks went up. I think they have signaled touchdown Titans.
Somehow Burks held on to the ball during the play, but he was concussed. David Long Jr. and Christian Fulton were also injured during the game. Meanwhile, Derrick Henry limited to 30 yards on 11 carries. The Titans will try to snap their 2-game losing streak on Sunday when they host the Jags. The final college football playoff rankings have Georgia number 1, Michigan number 2. TCU remained at number 3. Ohio State moved up to number 4. Alabama, ranked number 5, will play in the Sugar Bowl, while number 6 Tennessee will face Clemson in the Orange Bowl. Locally, the Music City Bowl will host Iowa and Kentucky. College basketball, number 13 Tennessee blasted Alcorn State 94-40. On the women's side, MTSU defeated number 18 Louisville 67-49. For foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
The Eagles start onto the field, and so Vrabel says, okay. And he heads over to shake hands with Nick Sirianni, who he knew in Kansas City when he was a player and Sirianni was just trying to make his way into the league. Today, Sirianni makes his way to 11-1 as the Eagles win over the Titans 35-10.
Reaction Monday, off and running on Ramon, Kayla, and Will, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors on 104.5 The Zone. The Titans go to Philly, and they get crushed 35-10 against the 11-1 Philadelphia Eagles, a class above the Titans, who could not get the running game going for the 4th consecutive week. Alongside 11-year NFL veteran Ramon Foster, she's Kayla Anderson, and behind the glass, he's the best producer in the world, Jonathan Schaefer, making the show happen.
The best producer in the world!
My name is Will Bowling. Great to be back with you. Good morning, friends.
Ooh.
Good morning, William, Kayla.
Is it a good morning for
It
Titans
is
fans?
a morning. Morning, friends.
Yeah.
All right, Jim Nance.
Hello, friends.
Hello.
Not great.
No.
Not great.
No, man. Started off what I thought could be good, but then the one good thing you had going for you yesterday gets knocked out after one catch and 25 yards with a touchdown. Phenomenal ability to hold on to that.
Yeah.
Because if you don't hold on to that, do you get into the end zone?
Yes.
You
At
do?
some point you would have.
I mean,
Because
They
he
haven't
would've
been
been-
hot in the red zone, I'll tell you that much.
they have not. Well, if we're being honest, that 7 points was the only touchdown to lead to 10. So I question it. You get in and that's fine, but I'm just thinking to myself, where do the points come from if it's not for Treylon holding on? Because there was no more after that, you know? So tough day at the office, tough day on the road, tough day for injuries, tough day to be a fan yesterday. It's simply what it was.
Yeah. And a point that I think all of those players didn't want to really have to deal with. If they would have lost, okay, if maybe they kept it close or they felt like they put it all out there, that they actually really competed at the highest level with a Philadelphia Eagles team that looked really, really good, minus all their penalties, and they still won the game. But again, you hear the Titans afterward in the locker room, and it was just like, we're at a crossroads. We need to figure it out. We need to come together because they know what's going on right now.
Yeah. And it's so like you said, that crossroads aspect of it is just like the last 2 weeks has been like upper echelon teams, I guess we can say now, so especially with Cincy beating Kansas City yesterday and the way you lost on the road to the Eagles. There's a difference, and there's a level of also playmaking that has to be had on both sides of the ball too. And I say offense and defense simply because defensively, some of your guys are just going ghost in a sense. You know, like I feel like, and we spoke about this before coming on air, Kayla, Jeff, it doesn't seem well. You know what I'm saying? Jeffrey Simmons doesn't seem well much at all as far as the way his play, what we're used to his play being. Mm-hmm. I was specifically watching him yesterday, and I'm thinking to myself, he's not coming off the way he usually does. But then again, on the offensive side of the ball, there is a huge gap, I think, as far as playmakers on that side of the ball. And I'll say this in a sense, it seems more fragile than ever as far as if somebody goes down, then everything's off. You know? Like, where's the substitute at when it comes down to the play? Like, Traylon's out, so then the focus point is all on Derek.
Well, they had, 3 wide receivers dressed? Is that correct?
Really 2 because C.J. Board's
think about it. You're right. Mm-hmm.
There are a lot of issues that come out of this game, and there are a lot of different ways that we can take it on Reaction Monday. 615-737-1045 is the number if you want to jump in. We take lots of your phone calls reacting to a 35-10 win for Philadelphia over the Titans yesterday in the city of brotherly love. 615-737-1045. And this morning we get into Derrick Henry's lack of production over the last 4 games, A.J. Brown's revenge game over the Titans, and a pass rush that, quite frankly, is on a milk carton for the Titans on defense that is getting beat on the line of scrimmage on both sides of the football week in and week out right now. And, guys, it's an offensive line that is forcing you to make drastic changes to the way this offense is run. And I mean drastic changes. And Mike Vrabel said it after the game in his post-game press conference, and it's one of the more telling quotes that I think he's had all year, that this is a crossroads for this team to evaluate how they want to play on offense.
Yes.
Because taking 6 sacks and running it up the middle and banging your head against a brick wall every single week is going to mess around and put the AFC South now in jeopardy. Because you're not going to beat anybody playing the way you've played on offense the last 2 weeks.
No.
Because the defense is out of gas, right?
And hurt
so.
and banged up, right?
The defense is banged up. It's out of gas. It is time for this offense to put on the hard hat and figure it out. Because you can't keep winning the same formula you did for the first half of this season. It's time to adapt and change the way that you think.
Does it start with shuffling the O-line?
It may have to. In a sense, like you get Ben back, okay? And that's the anchor of it all. But I'm looking at around Ben, like everybody kind of got yesterday too. Like
Nate Davis.
Yes.
Even Nate. I'm watching. I'm like, oh, Nate, no, not you too. Give me something. NPF, that fourth quarter sack on Tannehill. Dog, I'm not sure if y'all turned it off at that point, but I was just like, I got to finish watching it just to see what they finish like. Because to y'all's points, like, somebody's got to knock. Somebody's got to walk through that door and say, look, we're not taking this no more. And towards the last part of the game where you're getting bit, and everybody's been in those situations, and you kind of turn to the person next to you, especially on the offensive line, hey, look, nobody's hitting them anymore. We're done for the day, but no hits, no cheap stuff, and we're going to finish this thing out as best we can. That didn't happen at all yesterday evening. I'm talking about at all. That last hit, y'all, I was like, that's nasty. That was...
And Ryan kind of stayed in longer than I thought he would after getting rolled up on both ankles on that sack.
It was a drive too long.
But
I think so too.
I think this was Vrabel's mindset. You guys have put us in this situation, so find a way to get us out of it.
And I hate that.
Right.
I hate it too, Will.
I do.
But coaches do that crap, and you know that too, right? It's just like, all right, screw it. Finish it. Show me something. And then you got more of nothing.
615-737-1045, the number this morning if you want to jump in. Lots of your reaction and lots of reaction to what A.J. Brown did on the field and off it. Had a lot to say on the field and had a lot to say off the field.
He did.
A little bit of revisionist history about the way things went down between him and the Tennessee Titans. But you know what? You put together the performance that you had yesterday with 10 targets, 8 catches for 119 and 2 scores, and you pretty much had the freedom to say whatever you want.
I saw a lot of things happening yesterday. You know, a lot of people ask us throughout the week, hey, is there anything that's given that AJ could say towards one another? And I was like, no, not really. You really give up personnel. You remember that conversation we had this past week? I was like,
Sure.
It ain't much you can do schematically to say, man, no, they do this. No. What AJ did to me this week to his offensive coordinator, because he knows personnel, he knows Christian Fulton, right? He basically went to practice. Whether it was something he worked at, like I hadn't seen Christian Fulton get got on a up and out, a stutter move all year long. And AJ found a way to expose that.
He went to
Yeah.
practice, which is something he didn't do here.
Yeah.
He was never healthy.
He pretty much just scouted Christian Fulton, and he used it against him in the game.
So I thought it was interesting after the game. Elliot Shore Parks, he's a kind of a beat reporter, has his own podcast for the Philadelphia Eagles. He said that A.J. Brown said he wanted to retire as a Titan. This is what A.J. said. Felt he did everything he could to make it happen, and they traded him. Quote, I wanted to make them regret the decision. And I think just coming into this game, you knew that that was going to be A.J.'s mindset from the get-go. He circled this one on the calendar, no matter how petty that is. When it all comes down to it, he was able to go out there and not only get the job done, but do it with a little bit of swag. And he's the winner in the end in this situation.
There was a whole lot of AJ on my timeline yesterday.
And how couldn't there be?
As there should be.
Even from dudes that didn't play here. Richard Sherman having something
Well,
to
you
say.
knew
As there
that
should be.
from that Thursday night football game when he wouldn't give Traylon any love and he was still going on about AJ. You knew he was going to pop off when he had a chance.
that guy's always got something to say. Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah.
615-737-1045. Loaded phone lines already this morning, and your chance to first react with us to the Titans' loss in Philadelphia. Next, Kevin Dyson at 7:20. Lots of your phone calls this morning on Ramon, Kayla, and Will, 1045 The Zone.
When it comes to large home repairs, a lot of the time we homeowners pretend we don't see warning signs. We're afraid of what we're going to hear. This is especially true with waterproofing and foundation repair. It could be something big that needs to be fixed, or it could be a small problem now that'll become bigger later, or maybe nothing at all. In these moments, you want a peace of mind, and that's when you need United Structural Systems. With USS, you get problem solvers, experts to educate you and help you understand what's happening with your home. USS will provide an honest diagnosis and stand by their work and warranties. And USS is based right here in Middle Tennessee and is a member of our community. So when it comes to something as important as your home, USS is the company who cares and the company you can trust. USS serving Middle Tennessee, Southern Kentucky, and Northern Alabama. Find them online at USSTN.com or call them at 615-227-2275. We guarantee our best. Call USS.
Yeah, we're going to find out what we're about. I think we have a resilient group. We're tough and have bounced back from a lot before, and I believe we'll bounce back from this. Got to make the corrections that need to be made and come ready to go tomorrow and this week.
It's about Kayla and Will, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. Ryan Tannehill speaking to the media post-game after a 35-10 loss to the Eagles. According to Next Gen Stats yesterday, A.J. Brown plus 183 receiving yards over expected on tight window targets this season. That is now officially 60 more than any other NFL player, continuing to have a great season in Philadelphia green in his first season up there in the city of brotherly love. With Ramon Foster and Kayla Anderson, I'm Will Bowling. 615-737-1045 is the number if you want to jump in. And we begin with Goody Mike in Cleveland. First up, good morning, Mike. How are you?
Mike.
Morning. What up, y'all? What's going on?
How are we doing?
Hey.
Hey. All right, we're going to dive right into it. All right. So, Moan, dog, I know you want to take it light on the people, so I'm going to be your advocate and give you your flowers and say that, pretty much what Moan really need to be saying right now is, I told y'all, he said it all off season. We cannot sustain a winning culture. I'm pretty sure that's what you would say, a winning culture with this type of play. We got no depth, that goes to J-Rob, but I'm going to say that for another caller because I know somebody's bringing it up. We got no depth for this offense. We got no depth, obviously, for defense. And then on top of that, we've been leaning on our defense so much. I said this weeks ago. We've leaned on our defense so much they are exposed and tired. And that's obvious. And the reason it's obvious is because the Titans have been in this same position before. And with all of that being said, yeah, we're going to make it into the playoffs because we are in the sorriest division in the NFL. But the truth of the matter is that your boy Henry, it's not so much on him because his offensive line ain't giving him no help. But when they pan to him on the sideline, he looked like he ready to go. I know y'all gonna disagree. I know probably some people gonna disagree. I really don't care. The proof is in the pudding. Homeboy looked like he ready to go. Homeboy looked like pretty much he can't do it by himself because right now he's all we got. And when they showed him, it looked like. Yo, Greg Olsen said at the end of the third quarter, the score is 10 to 23, 10 to 28.
Yeah.
Throw in the white flag pretty much. That's the second game that we've had to throw in the white flag and take our starters out. Yeah. That is not a winning franchise. That is not anything to be built upon. Now, last week, John Glennon said that it comes from top down, right? That's what he said, from top down. So from J-Rob on down. So, I mean, what does that say?
Yep.
That our problem is in that office. And, yeah, man, so, I mean, I Moan, you was right all off season. You was right, dog. I know you don't want to say it, but kudos to you. And, I wanted to hear the breathalyzer so I could get flatline.
Thank you, Mike.
Yeah, man. All right.
Be safe, my
Appreciate
brother.
the call. This is a good
That's a
way
big
to.
mixture there of
This is-
sounds.
Lord, yes.
It was.
It's a good way to start the show today that we do have so many people that are going to want to call in that Jack Bauer will be coming for you if you go too long.
So Mike's conversation is this I kind of alluded to. It's like, okay, the run game is beautiful, but at some point you got to have some weapons on the outside. Whether you're getting Tannehill helping, you did. You went and got Traylon, but you lost AJ. And you kind of say to yourself, a bunch of teams now, I think we shared amongst each other, and I retweeted it yesterday too, the Brandon Graham quote after the game. Yeah, he didn't do much in the game, but the idea behind this team to me, if you're defending it, y'all can beat us any other way besides 22. And when Traylon went out, it kind of proved true. Look at the way teams, especially the last 2 weeks, they attack this offense on how they try to stop the run. Guys are literally just throwing themselves in the gap to stop Derek's feet, because once you stop Derek's feet, it's gang tackling at that point. The run game is beautiful, but you better be able to have weapons. And I think that was a separator yesterday in the last couple of weeks is the weapons that other teams have, you don't have here right now. Whether that be bad drafting, whether that be guys just not panning out, or just the philosophy of running the ball. The run ball style is good when you got weapons. And I think yesterday was a telltale sign, really telltale sign of you ain't got the weapons.
Well, even so, when you have the weapons, there's no mistakes that can really be had. And like Robert Woods had drop balls.
Yeah, he can't have that.
He can't continue to drop balls that need to be caught.
No.
And I love the guy, but you just can't do that, especially when there isn't that much there in terms of the weapons around Tannehill. You got to make the most of, like we said, every opportunity, like these young guys say. I mean, we saw Chig get a little more involved.
Yep.
But
it ain't enough when you playing in this style of NFL where people going to air it out or have the ability to.
You don't have margin for error when you have 3 active wide receivers.
No, Will.
that's just
not at all.
nuts.
No.
It's not sustainable. And what Mike mentions there is true, that it's not sustainable playing this kind of play if you don't hit on offensive linemen.
We've had this conversation.
You can't justify both things. You can't be the ground and pound, lunch pail, we're going to be tougher than you team, and have offensive linemen that just get beat one-on-one, because teams are starting to not even stack the box as much as they are saying, all right, 4v4. And in pass protection, 4v6, and we're going to beat you. And that's what they're doing. That's what the Bengals and Eagles have done 2 straight weeks. They are not even stacking the box as much as people think they are.
No.
Their corners are just recognizing run and diving down immediately from coverage.
Yep.
To help out guys that are getting held up on the Titans' offensive line because they can't get a push.
Is there anybody better than Double D, Dennis Daly, out there?
No, sadly, no.
Yeah, the guy sitting to the right of you.
Yeah.
You want to go?
No, I do not want
You ready
those
to come out of
problems.
retirement there,
No,
Moan?
no, ma'am. But I saw something yesterday that said to me, back up. And you want to know what it was? One of that last sacks of the game. He had Hilliard outside of him for a chip. The philosophy is if you got a chip, you must protect inside. Hilliard was outside, and then you had Sweat still beat him underneath for a sack.
Yeah.
He beat him underneath for a sack, y'all. If I got help outside, I'm oversetting inside so that you can't beat me inside. That to me said back up. I'm sorry, but that's just how the game goes.
And there are a lot of backup offensive linemen playing right now because there have been a ton of offensive line injuries.
Yes.
I mean, heck, Bobby Hart was playing for the Bills
Yeah, he was.
on Thursday Night Football. So
But
Dennis
not
Daly
to
at least,
improve at any point?
right. I mean, Dennis Daly at least isn't the worst left tackle that's played in the NFL now because Bobby Hart got on the field. But other than that, like you couldn't notice he was that bad. when
Bobby
he was
Hart's
in.
like, man, I'm just not doing my job catching a stray from this kid in
He
Nashville. What's
caught a lot more than just that from
Yeah.
Jeffrey Simmons earlier
Yeah,
this
he
year.
did.
That's for sure. We got a Mike in Clarksville up next at 615-737-1045. Hey, Mike.
So, Mike.
Hey, RKW, how y'all doing?
What's up, Mike?
Good morning, Mike.
Man, so big up to the call before, Big Mike. But y'all remember when I called in after the Kansas City game, I said, how long can we sustain this?
Yep.
And everybody told me up. And I was like, oh, just wait on it. And here it is. We have nothing. Yesterday we have nothing. There is nothing on offense. Defense is mentally drained and tired. And it's just like, what are we going to do? You see the look on Derrick Henry's face. If I'm Derrick Henry this morning, I'm going into the front office.
Yeah.
If I'm Tannehill, if I'm Big Jeff, we going into the front office this morning. This was y'all idea. Y'all traded him away, and he came back and got us. And the thing about it, when you look at AJ having fun.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like this is
Good
we
point.
are Bill Belichick team right now. There's no fun with Bill Belichick team. It's all business. But you can have that kind of team when you win the Super Bowls. So it's like we have not gotten better. And the teams that we've beaten, guys, none of them are really 500. Those are struggle teams that's not worse than, oh, yeah, we beat them. Dude, we ain't beat nobody over 500. So
where we stack up against Buffalo, right? We kind of got lucky with Kansas City because they didn't know what Malik was going to do. But, we've seen a couple plays that work that we just went away from again. So it's like, what do we do and how do we get better at this point? I'm going to look at John Robinson. I started cheering for A.J. Johnson. I'm glad this happened.
Ooh.
Because we needed it. We needed that. We needed it. I'm glad it happened. And now what are you going to do to try to change the culture? You can't go up on your tickets. You can't go into a new stadium playing like this.
Appreciate that, Mike.
So, all right.
Appreciate the call.
That's an actually really good call. Yeah. I kind of agree with almost everything.
Yeah, I did too. And he said, what do you do in those situations? Of course, in hindsight, and everybody said this at first too, is you find a way to pay AJ. And this is, I'll say this for the people that say AJ didn't want to be here. I think he did.
If it means this much that he said that he had it circled, all the stuff, he had to have wanted to somewhat stay here.
But let me.
Can I amend that a little bit?
Can I finish it? Let me finish it. But I think I feel like he really wanted to. And I think it got to the point in negotiations, which happens, they tell you how much you're terrible. You suck. You're not worth this. At a point to where they got to, where he said, I wanted 25, and the conversation, that leak call, they said, no, you're not worth that. That's when it probably turned very evil to him. Like, no, screw y'all then. Get me out of here. Because that's the point of negotiating is they're supposed to tell him, no, you're not worth this. And he's supposed to push back and say this as far as no, I need 25 a year. It got personal at that point, I think, for AJ when they told him he's not going to be worth that. And now in Philly saying to themselves, no, you really were, and they gave it, and he's proven it. That's why I'm pushing and saying, okay, I think he did, but then it flipped when they said you're not worth it.
But it's interesting, too, because when we had, was it Aiden on?
Yeah.
He told us that there's no way they even thought they were going to get A.J. Brown. As much as A.J. maybe wanted to go there because of Jalen Hurts and his relationship with Jalen, playing with his buddy, maybe he didn't know either that it was that realistic at the time. Right. Although he maybe wanted to go there. I think it's a little bit on both sides.
Yeah.
But it's just, I don't know.
Where
we'll never
were you
fully
at, Shave?
know.
Pretty similar to what you said, is that he wanted to stay here until he didn't.
Yeah, it got personal.
And especially with AJ, who sensitive, I think is a fair word to say.
Emotional.
A little high up.
Yeah,
a little hyped up. When that number came back and it wasn't even in the ballpark of his perception at the time, then it became personal.
So then he didn't really want to be here.
Right.
I think both
well,
can be
no,
true.
he wanted
Both
to
things
until
can
he
be true.
didn't.
I think his
I think Kayla's
priority,
right.
but both are true. But his priority was getting paid and someone seeing value in him.
Did you hear what he said though, about his family? And I do realize AJ is that type of guy, right? He wants to take care of his family, and that probably goes beyond just his daughter. Right? It's probably extended a little bit, right? 100%. And he said, "Now I can take care of my family with no shadow of a doubt."
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I do feel like part of that was the reason he wanted that much money. I'm not saying it was correct.
It's correct though, because he's showing his worth though. That's my point of it all. Is we say all this. I'm looking at this Jackson State Deion Sanders situation.
Right.
They offered this man one.
Yeah.
At the last second, and then you got a team in Colorado that offer him 5 times as much. So it's basically what we're saying. We go from $19 million with AJ to $25 million. That is a gap. Anybody is going to look at that and say, yeah, I'm a fool not to.
Here's what I'll say about AJ before we go back to the phones. I'm not willing to say that it was the wrong decision by John Robinson yet.
That's fair.
Because the reason why he isn't here is not because of what he could or couldn't do on that field yesterday. It's because of his availability to do it. Long term. In the injuries that he's had, and I think what he's been told by team doctors, that you're never going to be 100% healthy with some of the recurring injuries that he's had. The what I'm willing to say now, though, is that the succession plan at the wide receiver position after A.J. Brown has been wrong. The Titans got it wrong in replacing his production because they put too much pressure on a rookie in Treylon Burks. They got a discount price on Robert Woods coming off of a knee injury. And I think what a lot of Titans fans want to say yesterday watching that game is, yeah, it would have been great to have Treylon Burks. Imagine if you had both.
Oh, that's where I was wanting to go.
Imagine if you had both of them. Now, granted, if you don't trade for that pick, you likely don't have Traylon Burks. You probably have a different wide receiver that would have been. You might have Christian Watson.
Yeah,
pretty
it's
decent.
okay.
You probably have a different member of this rookie class early in the second or late in the first.
Right.
But when one of those guys gets hurt, this organization, I think this front office, overcorrected towards guys they thought would be more available. And John Robinson, as emotional as he was at the combine and as kind of emotional, I think, as the Titans were with the way things ended last year, they overcorrected and they tried to cut off the guys that they felt like weren't available. They weren't available at the biggest times of the season to sustain what they were doing when they were at their best.
Well, at this point, when it comes to the Titans, unfortunately, if anybody sees this every single game, there's some major player getting hurt or some starter getting hurt. I'm sorry, but the A.J. Brown thing, I get it, but he is healthy right now. He has been healthy this season. Traylon Burks has been banged up, and it's his rookie year. And so injuries are injuries, and injuries are going to happen no matter what. And so the more I look at that perspective, just to trade away a guy or think he's not worth it because he has had injury, I don't know. I don't know if I think at the beginning I was on that boat. Now I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Because it's all crapshoot anyway in the NFL.
It had nothing to do with his injuries.
You don't think so?
No,
Because, Will, you're saying it did.
No, what happened was the market shifted on the general manager. And it shifted in a big way after the Christian Kirk deal got signed.
Yep.
And that
that was
market
huge.
blew up.
Yeah.
I think it's both.
And then the money that was supposed to be there for AJ and the market shifted and decisions had been made to where the salary cap was going to look a certain way. Mm-hmm. Yes, the Titans could have offered more cash up front and done a Rams-like of deal to keep A.J. Brown. And then you have other problems come up later down the road if you try to do that. Cap decisions were made based upon a budget in which the marketplace shifted and they could not adjust the budget to then reflect the marketplace. And then A.J. and Philadelphia were able to find each other, and that's what happened. You had a GM that got, and then a receiver that took things personal.
And you're less willing to give more money than what you think the market tells you should give to a guy that wasn't healthy all the time when he was here. I think the injuries played a role in it.
I would say also philosophy of team offense, too.
Yeah.
I think injuries played a role in it, but right now it's convenient to lean onto that narrative. I don't know how much of a role it played, more than it is that the market shifted drastically at the time.
And they paid Landry, Harold Landry,
Yeah, they
right?
did. Yep.
So
Who's also injured.
who's injured? Who got injured right away?
Next, more of your phone calls at 615-737-1045. Rob and Alvin will lead us off on the other side. We go rapid fire on the phones and get your reaction to the Eagles' 35-10 win over the Titans. Coming up next on Ramon, Kayla, and Will, 104.5 The Zone.
Change is coming and you need to be prepared. Hey, this is Ramon Foster. Did you know that new regulations are coming soon that could increase the price of replacing your older HVAC system by over 20%? That's why you need to act now and get the older system replaced by my friends at Spring Hill Heating and Cooling. They offer 18 months with no payments, meaning you can lock in today's price and not have to pay until spring of 2024. Or you can get up to $1,500 off a new HVAC system now. Spring Hill Heating and Cooling is always backed by 10-year parts and labor warranties on York products. Spring Hill Heating and Cooling is also a York certified comfort expert company. And if you need repair work, they offer free service costs with their repairs, plus low monthly payments on those repairs. They are the heating and cooling company that can take care of all of your HVAC needs. Spring Hill Heating and Cooling, available anytime at springhillac.com.
1045 The Zone's annual Toy Field Toy Drive presented by Hardee's to benefit Salvation Army's Forgotten Angels. That's coming up tomorrow. While you're out doing your holiday shopping, remember those in need. Pick up a gift or toy. Help us build a field of toys tomorrow at Nissan Stadium. Special thanks to State Water Heaters, We Go Public Transit, and Cool Ray. For more info, visit 1045thezone.com.
35 points, 453 yards, and a big, comfortable win for the Philadelphia Eagles yesterday over the Titans. We take your phone calls at 615-737-1045 at Ramon, Kayla, and Will, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors in Nashville with Ramon Foster and Kayla Anderson. I'm Will Bowling. Back to the phones, where Rob in Nashville is up next this morning. Hey, Rob.
Hey, guys. Thanks for taking my call.
No
Yes,
doubt.
sir.
Hey, I'll say this. I've been hearing everybody talk about A.J. Brown. Yes, he was good and all, but let's just think about this right here. Philadelphia, and not taking anything from A.J. Brown, Philadelphia had the best players on that team. So anybody can make you look good, okay? The line was blocking. I mean, they was clicking on all cylinders. Mm-hmm. So quite naturally, they got exposed because they were playing against, top players. Then I'm going to say this. Derrick Henry, it's not his fault. They're not blocking for him. We could say the very same thing about Tannehill. Tannehill got ate up for lunch. Mm. So it comes down to me, it's the Lions' fault. It's not that, the Titans is so bad and all that. It's just this line stinks. It stinks. And that's the real problem. Because, like I say, if the line ain't blocking, that means Derrick Henry can't do what he's supposed to do. Then that means the receivers can't do what they're supposed to do. So, it's that one key element. So we got to stop saying A.J. Brown, because A.J. Brown knew what he was doing. He went to the best team that looked good. Who couldn't? But anyway, that's all I got. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Rob. It is true that he's got maybe the best offensive line in football, helping protect Jalen Hurts long enough to get him the ball.
Yeah.
That
and he's
team
got
is
other
good.
guys around him.
He does.
But also say that's all a part of front office management too,
It
right?
certainly is.
Okay.
615-737-1045, the number. We go to Alvin in Nashville up next, joining us on the show. Hey, Alvin.
What's up, Alvin?
Hey, how y'all doing?
Good.
Great.
Hey, I'm just gonna dive straight in. When you look back at John Robinson as far as drafting and all that, it's out there. He hasn't done his job as far as drafting. Caleb Farley, Dylan Raiders. I remember when he drafted Dylan Raiders, the commentators was like, he would have been there in the third or fourth round.
Yep.
It's out there. And you also, if you go back on the players he's drafted, out of all the players he's drafted, and I know you can't keep every player, we know this, but only two players he's re-signed. That's Kevin Byard and that's Landry. What are we doing? You just drafting players to let them go to the next team? Jonnu Smith, he don't even start. He don't even hardly get in the game with the Patriots. He's just there making money. I ain't mad at him. I do the same thing. But what are we doing?
Yeah.
What are we doing, John Robinson? And one more thing before I go. Can y'all please, I'm not telling y'all how y'all do y'all job, but can y'all please book Blaine Bishop on Mondays after the game? Because I'm going to tell you something. That man tell the truth, and he's a former Titan player, and I know he don't care. He gonna tell you how he feel about John Robinson. I'm going to hang up and listen.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate the call.
I've been saying this thing, though. I'm not I told you so type of person whatsoever. But we had this conversation about keeping your guys your guys. That's how you create that culture and fulfill it throughout the locker room time and time again.
It's fair.
Yeah.
And they've done a good job creating culture with guys off the street.
They have.
There's only so long you can do that.
That's how sustainable
With,
is that, man?
The Dylan Coles of the world. And no disrespect to Dylan Cole, not singling out him for, not living up to expectations.
Right.
But the Dylan Coles of the world have been great. There's just only so much you can do to fill in for draft picks who aren't producing.
Well, that on top of you're getting rid of some of your guys, like we have mentioned, right? And then you're drafting in place of like trying to build other positions, and you're not hitting. And when those are combined and things like this start to happen, it is going to go to the top.
It does.
It does. You have to look at the top.
Because I think that's what you're saying. Vrabel is a hell of a coach, right? But how can you coach something if you don't have a whole lot to work with? Or if whatever you're working with is depleted very quickly, meaning you don't have the proper depth behind it. I want to hear from them today, the callers in a sense, man, because we could do this all day.
And next, we get more of your reaction to begin hour 2 at 615-737-1045. Dr. Kevin Dyson coming up as well this morning at 7:20. Lots to discuss and lots of your phone calls as we continue on Ramon, Kayla, and Will, 1045 The Zone.
There's no gift that's more beautiful, more versatile, or more meaningful than a beautiful piece of jewelry gifted from the heart. And there's no better place to find that meaningful gift than Genesis Diamonds. At Genesis, making memorable moments is their thing. This holiday season, Genesis has put together the most impressive selection of can't-miss gifts, rings, earrings, pendants, bracelets, bands from $100 to $250,000 if you need it. Now through December 12th, Genesis is offering 5-year zero-interest financing on any holiday purchase with absolutely nothing down. So that beautiful Eternity band is just $50 a month, or that 2-carat pair of diamond stud earrings, just $100 a month. Everything's included in this amazing offer. Even Genesis' huge selection of hand-picked GIA-certified diamonds and luxury pre-owned Rolex watches. Make it a Christmas to remember with something special, something timeless, and something meaningful. From Genesis Diamonds, get 5 years zero-interest financing with zero down now through December 12th. Genesis Diamonds on approved credit in both Green Hills and Brentwood. Thank you.
It's 7 o'clock. Good morning. I'm Jonathan Schaefer from the Superbook.com sports desk. Jalen Hurts, 380 yards passing, 3 touchdowns. A.J. Brown, 8 catches, 119 yards, and 2 scores. The Philadelphia Eagles routed the Tennessee Titans 35-10 at Lincoln Financial Field. Philadelphia scored 21 unanswered points. The Titans' only touchdown, a 25-yard connection from Ryan Tannehill to Traylon Burks.
Here's the 3rd and 3 throw. Tannehill pumps, throws for the end zone. Ball is, did he catch it? There's a penalty marker in the end zone as Burks went up. I think they have signaled touchdown Titans.
Unfortunately, Burks concussed on the play. David Long Jr., Christian Fulton also injured in the contest. Meanwhile, Derrick Henry, 30 yards on 11 carries. That was it. The Titans will try to snap their 2-game losing streak on Sunday when they host the Jags. The final college football playoff rankings have Georgia 1, Michigan 2, TCU at 3, and Ohio State moved up to number 4. Alabama, ranked number 5, will play in the Sugar Bowl, and number 6 Tennessee will face Clemson in the Orange Bowl for the Vols, their first Orange Bowl berth since 1998. Locally, the Music City Bowl will host Iowa and Kentucky. College basketball, number 13 Tennessee blasted Alcorn State 94-40. Illinois State over Belmont 87-77. Women's hoops, MTSU defeated number 18 Louisville 67-49. Number 9 Virginia Tech over the Lady Vols 59-56. Ryan Foundation Repair and Waterproofing needs. Visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
The Eagles start onto the field, and so Vrabel says, okay. And he heads over to shake hands with Nick Sirianni, who he knew in Kansas City when he was a player, and Sirianni was just trying to make his way into the league. Today, Sirianni makes his way to 11-1 as the Eagles win over the Titans 35-10.
35-10, the final as the Eagles beat the Titans in the city of brotherly love and no love lost between A.J. Brown and his former team. 615-737-1045 is the number if you want to react this morning. In hour number 2 of Ramon, Kayla, and Will, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. With Ramon Foster, Kayla Anderson, I'm Will Bowling. The best producer in the world takes your calls. His name is Jonathan Schaefer.
The best producer in the world!
Of the world, Craig. The world.
Of the world. 615-737-1045. You talk to him, and then you talk to us. And Eric is in Nashville up next to begin hour number 2. Good morning, Eric.
Hey, guys. I'm not going to rehash pretty much a lot of stuff has been talked about, but I got home and saw the score was 28-0, and 28-10, I'm sorry, and kind of was dejected. Didn't hear what had happened during the game. It certainly didn't help, guys. But I tell you what, it's kind of bad when your quarterback is rushing for more yardage than your running back. Tannehill getting sacked 6 times, and as you said in the postgame, Will, maybe roll him out. I don't know what you do, but it was bad. But you were also talking about signings, free agents, of course, and there was a little bit of discussion of Jeffrey Simmons, and hopefully we'll sign him, guys. But it wouldn't surprise me if he decides he wants out if he really doesn't see anything to worth staying for. I hope he does, but you just don't know. And with the schedule we got coming up, guys, I think we're going to probably finish 9-8 or 10-7 because I don't know if we're going to sweep Jacksonville, guys. Because if they beat us next week, they're back in the race.
Wow.
And I tell you what, what's going to be interesting this Sunday, I'm going to be at the game where there'll be a lot of empty seats. Will fans start to check out because you worry about that too? Because I don't see us certainly beating the Cowboys, or I don't know if we're going to beat the Chargers. All the wins we may have left, guys, in the division game. So we'll see what happens. But as somebody said earlier, it's going to be tough to sell this team to the fans going forward, especially in the new stadium. If you can't get excited about this, you just want something that'll give you some hope, guys. Y'all take care, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, Eric.
Thanks, Eric.
Well, I'll say this. You don't have to worry about empty seats against Dallas because all their fans will be here.
Oh, they're here already.
Yeah, they're
everywhere.
While they're waiting for Yankee spring training to get started and Duke basketball to really kick into high gear, they'll be in Nissan Stadium in a few
Now,
weeks.
I'll say this. I understand why Eric was projecting that far forward, but whoa. Everybody slow down a little bit. Keep your powder dry a little bit.
Yeah.
But I would say the split with Jacksonville is very possible.
Well, but it depends upon Trevor Lawrence's health because he got injured in the game yesterday.
But didn't he come back in?
Yeah,
he did.
True. We'll see.
615-737-1045, the number. Kevin is in Clarksville and up next on the show. Hey, Kevin.
What's up, Kev?
What's going on, fellas? How we doing, lady? So I just want to touch on something real quick. So I read in a report yesterday where the Titans only
I think I did it over here.
They say 5. Oh, no, I did. Hello?
Go ahead.
No, you're here.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I read on somewhere where the Titans only took 5 wide receivers to the game. In my opinion, that was only one receiver, which was Traylon Burks, and like 3 blockers, and then a half of a receiver and Robert Woods, because I don't know what he is right now. But my point is, do we have to play with a left tackle? Can we just not take a left tackle to a game since he don't show up while we're playing? Can we just play without a left tackle and add an extra receiver on the field instead of a blocker?
Yeah.
Thank you, Kevin.
Yeah, it's possible for sure. Put a tight end in.
The first 4-man offensive line in the history of football. Just have Jeff Swaim out there be the extra blocker on the left side.
And now,
every now and then he can catch passes.
Currently watching that 3rd and 1 in the tight red zone. He jumped off sides too. Put him at 3rd and 5. Yeah. You go from 3rd and 1, 3rd and 6.
What number is Dennis? Dennis Staley's number 71?
Yeah.
I feel like we're going to get to the point where Titans fans just refer to him as 71. Like I have a buddy that every time he watches Tennessee basketball, he has this one player he doesn't like, and he just calls him by his old number. I'm like, it's kind of disrespectful.
But then he gave up the sack, too.
It was about as bad as it gets for 2 consecutive plays for Dennis Staley. I kind of hate singling people out this badly, but when you put yourself on a pedestal like that in the worst way, we have no choice but to say, hey, you can't, in the red zone on 3rd and 1, get a false start penalty and then be a turnstile on the next play and give up a sack.
But this has been happening for a while.
It's every week.
It's not like this is the only game. I mean, Dennis Staley has been on the fans' minds for a bit now.
And not in a good way.
No.
It's every week. I mean, and it's not just him.
No,
it wasn't in this game because Dennis Staley is not the only problem that this offensive line has. To give him a little bit of grace, I don't know if grace is the right word, but I mean, pretty much everybody got beat on at least 1 or 2 big moments yesterday.
Yeah,
on the Titans offensive line. And what you mentioned is when Dontrell Hilliard goes to the outside and is chipping on the outside, the one thing you can't do is get beat inside.
I'm talking about you want to see an offensive line coach like having just lose his top will. That's how you do it.
I mean, the Eagles' offensive line, since the show started, had 3 more pre-snap penalties this morning, and they still were far from the worst offensive line on the field yesterday.
How many did they finish with pre-snap?
Ooh, it's a good question.
Because they had 9 offensive penalties.
I lost count at like 6 or 7.
It was at least 6.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, which is crazy.
And there was one more before their touchdown that on the play that was on the drive that was extended from the Titans' second special teams penalty in as many weeks on chip shot field goals. There was a false start on that one that wasn't called on Jordan Mailata that should have been called.
Yeah.
Again, referees were up to the standard we expect.
What's crazy
every
though,
week, even though it had nothing to do with the outcome of the game.
Eagles had 12 for 80 penalties, 12 penalties for 80 yards, and the Titans had 7 for 82.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. They had more. They had a couple of, I think Bud had a helmet to helmet. Yeah. There were also a couple
Mario
other plays.
had something.
Mario had one also when he slammed down on him. That was soft.
That was I didn't like that penalty.
No.
Didn't like it.
It looked like something, so they called it.
And you wonder why guys like Jalen Hurts are in vogue in the NFL and you can't tackle them and they're so athletic? It's because you also aren't allowed to tackle them.
That was soft.
Because when you get your chance, you can't hit them. So of course they're going to break tackles.
Well, he was doing everything he could to avoid the helmet, right?
Right.
And with a guy like Mario, he's huge, and so the momentum's carrying you down. It's like, what can you do at that point?
Yep.
he did everything he could.
What did you think of the illegal contact call on Christian Fulton as he got flattened by A.J. Brown?
Again, so I said this in the first out. AJ took practice and used it against him.
Sure, but the call itself.
I thought it was a fair call because Christian was bad technically on that play. AJ goes out and Christian bit on it.
Mm-hmm.
That's a him problem.
He was not happy about it.
No, he was. And AJ goes back up. He got in his way. The route was still going. Like it was legit. I know you can say, "Oh no, he was in his way," but he made him bite on that out and up so bad, man, that you had to call it on that wide open touchdown. I was like, "Why?" I thought it was an offensive pass interference. No, Christian just kind of ran into him.
Yeah,
he got him. I hadn't seen that from Christian Fulton all year long.
He was mad after the game in the locker room.
I'm sure.
That.
The issue I have with it is that AJ not only initiates the contact with him.
Yeah.
I mean, but AJ is like blocking like it's a run play. Legitimately.
I saw it differently than you then. I saw, which is fine. I saw AJ go up, go out, and then turn back up and ran into him.
Here's the problem I have, though. If there's a pass completed behind AJ Brown and he initiates that exact same contact, it's offensive pass interference for engaging as a blocker too soon because he literally looked like a blocker against Christian Fulton.
You know what you say right there? That was a damn good route.
It was. Oh, of course it was. I'm not disputing that.
If it looked like that, that was a real good route. And then, of course, it's the threat of AJ, too, which is what led to that. It was an emotional game for this group. It's secondary. Yeah, he big man. He big boyed him. He did. 100%.
That's what Keith Bullock said.
He's like a tractor.
Yeah.
Keith Bullock on Twitter quote tweeted me and said, "It is your prerogative as the defensive back to get out of the way of that route." And most receivers would go down and draw the call. And AJ said, "No,
I'm going.
I'm going to push you in the ground and I'm going to show you up."
Exactly. Yeah. Because this is the thing, too. If AJ falls, it's a DPI.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? So that's the reason you got to call it. AJ just.
It was only the way AJ then initiated the contact that made me think it rose to the level of something different. But I'll defer to your judgment.
No. We're both fair on the way we both saw it.
By the book, it was the right call. I just think it's, I mean, we're not breaking any news here, but it's a tough time to be a defensive back in the National Football League.
No,
tough time.
That was a killer route, though.
Christian also came out of the game.
Yeah, he did come out of the game.
Yeah.
What did they have to say?
Here's the other issue.
Go ahead.
You just, and I think this is where a lot of Titans fans' frustration comes from. This is a league that's catered more towards wide receivers.
Mm-hmm.
And you bet on the run game and guys that you want to pay on defense.
Yeah.
Like you are spending your money on what isn't as in vogue in the league. So then you can't turn around and complain and say, "Oh, well, it's just hard to be a defensive back because everything is catered towards wide receivers." Well, then that's even less reason to trade away your number one wide receiver.
Well, yeah.
I mean, that's what we're saying.
I mean, the way, dude, the play before the touchdown, he got him there too. Like, for some reason, Christian was amped up. He was beyond amped up. He made him bite on the stop and go.
Sure did.
He looked like our DBs for the Vols on that one.
Oh, God. That's disrespectful. But you're not wrong. I'm just saying it's disrespectful to compare anything to the South Carolina performance. Yeah, it's that's a chord you could strike for a lot of fans that are just watch the same kind of defensive back play in two different colors in the past couple weeks. 615-737-1045. Next, we talk with Dr. Kevin Dyson, former Titan and our teammate on Titans Talk Back as well post-game. Get his thoughts on what A.J. Brown was able to do against the Titans secondary and what he saw on that play and many others where A.J. Brown was beating the Titans secondary. You will get to your reaction after that. If you're on the line with us, hang on, and we will get to your phone calls after we talk with Dr. Dyson. But Kevin Dyson joins us coming up next on Ramon, Kayla, and Will, 104.5 The Zone. Hey, it's Will Bowling here from my friends at Lee Company, and I tell you a lot about what they do, and they are your facilities solutions partner. They do HVAC, plumbing, electrical, general maintenance, new technology, and more, and Lee Company wants you to know that they can become your on-site strategic partner. Lee Company works with unique facilities, and they offer custom solutions tailored to what you need. And their virtual support team at Lee Company has 24/7 eyes on floor temperatures, building metrics, and so much more. You see what Lee Company sees with their XOI picture and video technology on every service call. And you can visit leecompany.com and click on My Facility to learn more. Their phone number, easy to remember, 615-567-1000. Whether it's HVAC, plumbing, electrical, general maintenance, new technology, and more, you see what they see, and Lee Company wants to be your facilities solution strategic partner. They have nearly 80 years of experience, and there's a reason why they've been trusted since 1944. Open 24/7, 14 community locations in Tennessee, Kentucky, and Alabama. 615-567-1000. Give Lee Company a call. Lee Company, all you need. Monday edition of Ramon, Kayla, and Will, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors on 104.5 The Zone. With Ramon Foster and Kayla Anderson, I'm Will Bowling. Jonathan Schaefer making the show happen as we go to the Marks Bain Real Estate Hotline and check in with Dr. Kevin Dyson, former Titan and co-host of Titans Talk Back. Post-game every week right here on The Zone. What's up, Dr. Dyson? How are you?
What's going on, Will? How y'all doing?
We are great. Long time no talk, man. As you kind of sleep on this one for the Titans and get to reflect on what happened yesterday in Philly, where do you begin with the process of where this offense needs to improve and just how bad are things right now in your perspective for this team?
Football starts up front. You can't do much if you don't have time to throw. You don't get the lineman to the second level. You're not getting pushed up front to establish your run game. It all starts up front in the offensive line, and I'm sure they'll probably tell you, man, they got to get better. There's no way you can sit there with a four-man rush, dropping everybody else, and they get at your quarterback within a second and a half. It wasn't even time for him to plant in a four-man rush, and he was already under distress, man. And that's something that needs to be addressed immediately.
Dr. Dyson, not under these circumstances, man, but it's amazing the focus point now that's on the offensive linemen in the world, man. I appreciate all of this, my brother. With that being said, though, man, when you look at these last 2 weeks, how much of this do you point towards personnel as far as the way this kind of broken down?
Well, there's definitely something to go with that, too. But I'll say this. I've been saying this for a while. That comes into the game planning expectations that I would have. If you know your personnel, you know your limitations, you know your people, you put them in favorable position to have the most success. You don't just call your normal plays maybe. You know what I'm saying? You might call the plays, but a different guy's running that route. Or you might call your plays out of a different formation. You know, you got to do some things that help some of this out as well, right? If your guys are hurt, things of that nature, you got to maneuver your pieces on the board to get them in position to be successful. And that ultimately is what play calling comes down to on either side of the ball, but especially on the offense side of the ball in the National Football League, is about putting your guys in the most favorable position to have the most success.
Another conversation we've kind of had a little bit, we had it throughout the course of the summer, and especially when AJ was gone too, or after he got traded. You've been in locker rooms. You understand what I mean by this. I just want to know your standpoint. At a certain point, man, to build a culture and sustain it, you have to keep your guys your guys. I know AJ's situation may be different, but like I know, the homegrown guys, they are there to set a precedent to what you want when you draft them or free agent them as rookies. It's not a lot of that goes on right now. Where are you on that after watching AJ do work yesterday? And I know it ain't all about him. But where are you at with keeping your guys, especially with Jeff on the back end of this thing?
But it's economics, Ron. It always comes down to economics. I don't care, coach or side. I said something a long time ago when I said, man, when it comes down to winning that trophy at the end of the year and the economics is always going to side first. I don't care what owner, what they tell you, whatever it comes down to. It always comes down to dollar and cents, and that's unfortunate. The business gets part of it, and that's why you can't necessarily get too caught up, especially with the way free agency is designed nowadays to balance the playing field, so to speak. And, what AJ did yesterday was kind of show you how the economics can interfere on building a team. So many people look to what the Patriots have done as nobody's bigger than the organization, nobody's bigger than the program. So guys just fill in and play, and they play at a level of expectation. And I think that's the sense what a lot of people, especially the Titans, are trying to duplicate is it's not nobody's bigger than the program, nobody's bigger than the guy. So if you come in every day, put your hard hat on, prepare, study your film, study your game, go out there and play, perform, don't make mental errors, don't do anything that's going to be detrimental to your team, we can be consistent winners. Now, but how people may want to look at that, you can look at it two ways. Have the Titans been consistent winners? Absolutely. It's a team that hasn't been below 500 in a lot of years, been in playoffs last few years, even a number one seed. Now, granted, they hadn't made it to a Super Bowl, but they have been winners. So you can go to the other side of that, too. How do people view that? Are you a winner if you're not winning the Super Bowl? Is Ricky Bobby? If you're first, you're last. If you're not first, you're last, right? So which one is it? That's kind of where the fans are with it right now.
When you look at this defense, it's been such a big part of this Titans team this season, especially up front. But right now, just 3 sacks in the last 2 games. You have the question of Big Jeff's ankle. How healthy really is he? And Danico Autry hasn't been playing, and we know what a difference maker he's been this year. What's the biggest problem in your eyes?
You know, I think fatigue. I mean, this was the first game I saw in probably the 3-4 previous where I felt like that defensive line, that rotation looked a little fatigued. You know what I mean? I don't know if the minutes are starting to get to them a little bit. The added pressure is getting to them a little bit. You know, they played how many plays? Was that 90 plays just about not even a month ago? That's a whole lot of plays on that defense side of the ball.
Yeah.
This was the first game where I felt like they actually looked a little bit tired and couldn't get after the quarterback.
When it comes to Derrick Henry, I think it's easy to say, oh, he's slowing down or he doesn't have that, extra step anymore. A lot of it has to do with much more than that. But in the last 3 games, 3.1 yards per carry, 2.2 yards per carry, 2.7 yesterday against the Eagles. What do you see is happening with Derrick Henry right now?
It's hard to get going with people at your legs as soon as you touch the football.
Right.
That's what I'm seeing. He's a volume runner. He's a guy. He's going to wear you down, and eventually he's going to break the levee, right? And so it's hard for him to get going when as soon as he's touching the ball, there's people nipping at his heels, man. So that to me is something that needs to be addressed. I've been saying it for weeks. People have been looking at this blueprint. They're putting 5-6 guys on the line, doing 50 and 60 fronts, and daring you to do something else, and guys are coming scot-free because it's hat for hat, and then there's an extra guy or two coming through that you're not accounted for. So if you not be able to combo block to the second level or backside, scoop it and get free, let that guy free and let him beat that guy's making that play. Or if they're not be able to get that second level, that guy's making that play. Or they're blitzing corners off the edges or safeties off the edges, and they're making a play. So it's hard for them for him to get going because his legs are already getting stopped before he can get going forward.
Kevin Dyson with us this morning on Ramon, Kayla, and Will. Dr. Dyson, the red zone offense struggles again yesterday in Philadelphia. Yeah. Is there one problem you're seeing pop up time and time again these past few weeks in the red zone? Who's kind of the most to blame for the struggles there?
Most to blame, I'll start there. It always starts with coaches, right? You still got to be able to put your players in fair position, play calling, things of that nature. But I will say this. When you get into that area, that box, that red zone box, if you will, that playbook slims down a whole lot, right? There's not a whole lot of things you can do. So with that being said, going 3 tight ends and trying to bully people, it hasn't worked, right? Y'all been documenting 3.1, 2.7 yards per carry with the King. So bully ball is not necessarily working down there. So now what are we going to do to get guys in this end zone? Because they're 0 for 5 in the past 2 weeks in the red zone when early in the year they were number 1 in the National Football League with getting touchdowns, while they're getting in red zone. So something has to be corrected. To me, I think some of the things you need to do is look at your personnel, as Ron talked about, and how you maneuver your pieces to get guys in favorable positions. Sometimes if you have a 3 tight end set, break the huddle out of empty, and if they're in there with 5 down linemen, what are they going to do? How are they going to defend that? You're going to expend one of those D linemen, put him out in space. Now he's got to cover somebody in space, or they're going to stay with 5 down linemen. Now we just dink and dunk all the way down the field. Now that's just me. That's just something I would think of doing from a personnel standpoint. But to me, that's where it all starts. When you get down in that red zone, how can I put my guys in favorable positions to be successful?
Yeah.
Dr. Dyson, Titans receivers yesterday had 4 catches for 41 yards and 1 touchdown. How difficult is it to play that position? I know you mentioned Derrick Henry being a rhythm runner. A lot of rhythm catchers, I would imagine, that when they don't have a couple targets a drive and aren't feeling like they're a focal point of the offense, things get difficult. How tough is that for a guy like Robert Woods that right now is not getting a whole lot of looks and just simply kind of isn't making the most of his opportunities when they do come right now?
Yeah, that's the hard question right there, Will, because, yes, receivers need to feel the game, right? They need to feel the zone. They need to feel that body. You get in a rhythm. I mean, you just conversely looking at what Philly did with Smith and A.J., but between them they had 18, 19 targets. and they had a feel for the DBs, their body. Y'all were talking about the double move that AJ put on him, and he just had a feel for the guy. He knew what was there. He just had a good rhythm of the game. And so as from the other side of that, it's hard for guys to, if you only get 1 or 2 targets a game, then you start stressing because that next one that comes, you might be your last one. So you're thinking, I got to make this catch, and so it doesn't look as smooth, or you might even drop it, things of that nature. So it's just one of those things that I feel like it goes hand in hand, right? But I feel like at some point this passing game has to open up this running game because right now everybody's daring you to do that. So you're going to have to say, go to that meeting room and say, look, y'all going to have to pick up this pace. We're about to give you some opportunities. You got to make the most of these opportunities because we got to get the king going. And if that works, then that's going to open up the king. But right now, they're daring people. Yeah, they've had a couple solid games throwing the football against Green Bay and things of that nature. But at the end of the day, when you get to the last 2 games, yeah, you had pretty decent days throwing the football, but it didn't equate to points. So you got to find ways to manufacture these points. And to me, you got to open it up and give those guys opportunity to catch the ball.
And Doc Dyson, that's where I'm at this morning. I was going right into that question, man. I know history is one thing and mindset of, okay, we're not going to do what everybody else is doing. But at some point, I feel like you got to start navigating away from this run-first style of ball in today's NFL. And I say that, I just want to know where you're at as far as the run-first style of ball, simply because it's teams that do it, Baltimore, 49ers, but they also have either dynamic quarterbacks or weapons around them. Where is this transition, and when do you expect it to happen with this Titans team?
I think I documented this last night where Variable made the comment of going back to the lab, so to speak, and looking at and evaluating where we're at. And I think that was a humble moment to say maybe we need to rethink how we're doing this, just lining up, 3 tight end sets or pro set and lining up and pushing the pile is not working right now. We got to do something to help our guys. And he said something to that effect yesterday. And this day and age in the National Football League where people are putting the ball up a minimum of 30, 35 times a game, it's amazing that the Titans have had so much success going back to what we would call old school football, right? With the days of old with Corey Dillon, Eddie George, and Jamal Lewis, and all those guys, and Jerome Bettis, and those guys were just banging 30, 35 times a game. Jamal Anderson, right? And Derrick Henry is a remnant of that. Like, he reminds you of that era, and he's had so much success being that. Well, here we are now. Teams are saying, you know what? I'm gonna dare you to do something different. We're gonna take him away, and now what? And so maybe some things haven't quite developed as well as you would like in the passing game because of that crutch that you've had in Derrick Henry over the past several years, because he has been so successful just running the football. So to me, I just think you got to go back to what we talked about earlier, man. Just looking at your personnel and try to figure out their skill sets and putting guys in a favorable position to be successful. And some of that, it might just be, if you go back to Green Bay years ago when they didn't necessarily have the vertical threat, they were going down empty sets, slants, hitches, quick outs, all the way down the field. And as soon as you fell asleep, they gassed you up top. That worked. We've seen Tom Brady have a similar philosophy. When he'd go empty set, he'd do empty set with a 3 tight end set, and he motioned back in with a tight end, and they ran outside zone with a tight end. So it's just about being creative with your personnel and sitting there saying, we're going to line up and bully you is not working right now.
Go ahead, Kayla.
I just was going to say, one thing you love about this team under Mike Vrabel is that in situations when facing adversity, it always seems like they are able to come back together and find ways to win. 5 games left in the regular season, 2 more against the Jags. You got Houston in there, but you got the Dallas Cowboys coming into town, so a little bit of mix of everything. Like, what in your eyes do they have to do in order to go into the playoffs, if they make it, on a high note and play their best football?
Well, I'm going to go out and say they're making the playoffs. I believe they're in. I've been saying that since day one. They're going to win the division. They will be in the playoffs. Now, no matter what they get in there and the rhythm they're in, Vrabel's a good coach, man, and you can tell the players vibe with him, and they really trust him. They believe in him. He understands the game, understands the players, understands the psyche of a player, and I think that has gone well for him and his strength as a leader to be able to turn the ship back and head in the right direction. I think now it's about him and his staff and even the players self-evaluate, looking in the mirror like, man, what do we need to do to get better? Because what we're doing right now is not working. And I think step one was him saying that last night, well, we need to evaluate because what is happening right now is not working. We got to be able to put up points. Not being able to put 20 points up in the National Football League and still have a winning record is amazing because that would, to me, equate a team that would be below 500 because more often than not, the teams that are upper echelons are putting up 25-plus points a game, and the Titans have only done that, once or twice this year. So I think in these last 5 games, you got 3 divisional opponents. You win those 3. You go 3-2. Obviously, you win your division, depending on how the rest pans out, and your matchups. Right now, we were talking about last night. Last night, your first round matchup, as opposed to last night, would be the Dolphins. Does anybody feel confident about that one right now? I would rather see the Chiefs, personally. But I just think the Titans match up well and have the number of the Chiefs. But that's a tough first round game right there. So it's always tough. The NFL is always tough, and we've talked about it before, man. The next game is the next biggest game, the next most important game, and here it is, a division opponent, the Jaguars, who I know the record doesn't necessarily suggest it, but they're a good football team. They've had good defensive players for the last, 5, 6, 7, 8 years.
Right.
And now they got a quarterback that's up and coming, and it's a matter of time. And so you know the potential's there. So it's not just we're going to show up and win type of game. They got to come out and play.
Dr. Kevin Dyson has been our guest at KT Dyson87 on Twitter. Dr. Dyson, appreciate the time as always, and we will do it again post-game this upcoming weekend.
No doubt.
All right, y'all. You have a good week, brother.
Absolutely.
Thanks,
you as well. There is Kevin Dyson with us on the Mark Spain Real Estate Hotline, and lots to react to from that about the way this offense can change and adapt a little bit. Moving forward into next week against Jacksonville. 615-737-1045. We have time to take your phone calls once again as we react to a Titans loss in Philadelphia yesterday. Coming up on Ramon, Kayla, and Will, 1045 The Zone.
You don't have to go through yet another year of that knee pain or back pain. People with chronic joint pain are getting real lasting relief from QC Kinetics. Hash Ramon Foster. QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in advanced regenerative medicine. Their unique protocols use healing agents from your own body to target aching joints, repairing and restoring damaged joint tissue so you can move again with no surgery, no drugs, no downtime. Got shoulder pain, excruciating hip pain? If you have any arthritis pain or lingering pain from an injury, don't let them operate on you or give you some more steroids, and say no to the pain pills. Call QC Kinetics and see if their life-changing, all-natural treatments can get you living your life, your best life in this new year. I'm telling you, people are raving about these treatments. This is the future of joint pain management, and appointments are available as soon as next week. Make 2023 the year you say goodbye to joint pain. QC Kinetics in Nashville, Clarksville, and Murfreesboro. And you can call them at 615-249-4024. Again, the number is 615-249-4024.
1045 The Zone's annual Toy Field Toy Drive presented by Hardee's to benefit Salvation Army's Forgotten Angels. That is tomorrow. While you're out doing your holiday shopping, remember those in need and pick up a gift or toy. Help us build a field of toys tomorrow at Nissan Stadium. Special thanks to Music City Autoplex and our media partners at Fox 17. For more info, visit 1045thezone.com.
It's Ramon, Kayla, and Will, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors on 1045 The Zone with Ramon Foster and Kayla Anderson. I'm Will Bowling. Looking forward to Toy Field tomorrow.
Yay.
Hope you'll come out and see us at Nissan Stadium between the hours of 6 and 10 a.m. And make sure that field is full and we're just adding on top of it for the rest of the shows coming up tomorrow.
Yeah, absolutely. I have to bring a few gifts tomorrow, too, Will.
Absolutely. 615-737-1045. We begin with Philly George at the end of hour number 2 this morning on the phone lines. What's going on, Philly George?
Hey, man, it's a good day to be an Eagles fan, my friend.
It sure is.
We played well yesterday, and, I thought about this game 1,000 ways, right? And we could talk all day long about false start penalties on A.J. Brown, injuries, et cetera, but in my opinion, it really comes down to talent, right? I look at it and say, and this might sound a little arrogant, so forgive me, but to me, our receivers are better than your cornerbacks. Our cornerbacks are better than your receivers. And the same thing can be said about the offensive and defensive lines. And the one area where you guys excelled, we didn't try to run the ball in the middle till the game was all the way over. So I think it was a little bit of game planning. But at the end of the day, it just came down to talent. And again, don't mean to sound arrogant, because trust me, in Philly, we lose more than we win. But right now in this year, we have a lot of talent on the ball.
Yeah.
So that's just kind of my thought. I'd love to hear your feedback, but that's
Sure.
kind of what I think happened yesterday.
Thank you, Philly George. Appreciate the call.
It's fair.
I mean, there's a lot of truth to that. And I think what I come back to, and Greg Olson mentioned this. Greg Olson does a great job, by the way, on those Fox broadcasts.
Yeah, he does. I like
think he's
Greg, man.
fantastic.
He's good.
And
He's also scouting a flag football team right now.
I know, I saw that.
Yeah.
And Kevin Burkhardt, I think, is terrific. I
Yeah,
think that,
Kevin's
that
great.
crew
He's
doesn't
a
get
good
enough credit.
dude, too. Yeah.
The Eagles can win different kinds of games. The Titans cannot right now.
Yep.
That's what it comes down to. Philadelphia is more balanced, and they're able to win a shootout. They're able to win a slugfest. They're able to win throwing the ball. They're able to win running the ball. They're able to win stopping you run the ball. They can take away you passing the ball. Like they can win every single kind of game. And even at their best, that's been a weakness for the Titans. It's got to be the same formula with this team and this coaching staff and this group of personnel. So give credit to Philadelphia and Howie Roseman and Nick Sirianni and what they've done, because they can win any type of game that you bring at them.
And I think you have to also look at just what Jalen Hurts has done in terms of he put in the work in the offseason. He took it to a whole nother level this year.
Yeah.
He took it to a whole nother level, and he has been consistent. He has taken care of the football. He's had the weapons around him, but he put in the work in the offseason to get there, even with A.J. Brown before A.J. was here in Philly. But Devontae Smith, let's not forget last night, he had over 100 yards, a touchdown as well.
Yeah, he did.
I mean, it wasn't just A.J. Brown. You got 2 wide receivers that go for over 100.
Yep. That's a hard day at the office right there, especially when your secondary is a little beat up. Your first rounder from last year is not really what you thought it was going to be either. That's the biggest caveat of it all. If you got Christian and Caleb Farley, that could be a different conversation if he's playing up to his pedigree. But we're not even getting that right now. And again, personnel for sure. I think we on the professional side of sports, like the NFL, we don't look at it as like, oh, it's not good enough, like as far as talent goes. The same way we do at college sports. Like Tennessee versus Bama, last 14 years, you kind of said, what, man, Bama's just better. This game right here, we're looking at the last 2 weeks and just saying these rosters that the Titans have played against, the teams are just better talent-wise. And that, to me, is a telltale sign of a whole lot of things. And maybe this is a big-time off-season conversation, but it's hot right now, and John Robinson's feet has to be held to the fire with that. I know the cap is one thing, and like Dr. Dyson said, the economics of it has to make sense, and nobody wants to be what the Saints are about to be next year. But there is a level of like finessing the system or pushing it down when you're good enough. When you're good enough, right? Because the pendulum swings on everybody as far as wins, losses, good, bad, coaching changes, players, quarterbacks, all that type of stuff. But this Titans team was primed for runs. and then you get rid of an entity of it in A.J. Brown, and you just kind of say, golly.
It's hard to pair the fact that you haven't hit on enough first-round draft picks.
That's hard, yeah.
With the fact that you're paying the largest cap hit to a quarterback in the NFL this season, and you're paying a running back a lot of money too. Those are three factors that a lot of NFL teams just have to overcome one of them. There are a lot of NFL teams that pay a quarterback, fine. Draft well, and you don't have a running back on a big contract. Then you get teams like Dallas. Hey, they're doing both, but they've drafted outstanding defensive players on that team where you're able to get incredible value out of Micah Parsons and Trayvon Diggs that aren't making that much money at the beginning of their careers, but they're playing at all pro levels.
Yeah.
So that masks the fact that you have to spend more money on a running back and on a quarterback. So if you're going to do those two things, which is fine, that is your right, as the Titans to pay Ryan Tannehill and pay Derrick Henry, it makes the draft picks that much more important, especially in the early rounds.
It does. I got a question for you before we head into this break, man, in a second. As far as draft night goes this past summer, okay, do you think there should be more roster control from Vrabel as it seems? Because y'all been around Vrabel more than I have, right? Kayla, you definitely have. Is there a conversation to be had, Kayla, that draft night, John Robinson and Mike Vrabel weren't on the same page as far as the transaction that happened?
Some parts, I would say, we'll tease to the break.
Let's answer that question next. And take more of your phone calls at 615-737-1045. It's a good question for Ramon Foster on, does Mike Vrabel deserve the benefit of the doubt of more say in personnel decisions with this Titans team? 615-737-1045, the number. Halftime of the show. Going by quick. Another quick 60 minutes begins after this on 1045 The Zone.
8 o'clock. Good morning. I'm Jonathan Schaefer from the Superbook.com Sports Desk. Jalen Hurts threw for 380 yards and 3 touchdowns. A.J. Brown, 8 catches, 119 yards, 2 scores. The Philadelphia Eagles routed the Tennessee Titans 35-10 yesterday at Lincoln Financial Field. Philadelphia scored 21 unanswered points. The Titans' only touchdown, a 25-yard connection from Ryan Tannehill to Traylon Burks.
Here's the 3rd and 3 throw. Tannehill pumps, throws for the end zone. Ball is, did he catch it? There's a penalty marker in the end zone as Burks went up. I think they've signaled touchdown Titans.
And a heck of a catch considering Burks was concussed on the play. David Long Jr., Christian Fulton were also injured yesterday. Meanwhile, Derrick Henry, 30 yards on 11 carries. That was it. The Titans will try to snap their 2-game losing streak on Sunday when they host the Jags. Final college football playoff rankings have Georgia at number 1, Michigan at number 2. TCU stays at number 3. Ohio State moves up to number 4 and gets in. Alabama is 5, will play in the Sugar Bowl. Number 6, Tennessee will face Clemson in the Orange Bowl for the Vols, their first Orange Bowl berth since 1998. Locally, Music City Bowl will host Iowa and Kentucky. College basketball, number 13, Vols blasted Alcorn State 94-40. Illinois State defeated Belmont 87-77. Women's hoops, MTSU defeated number 18, Louisville 67-49. Number 9, Virginia Tech over the Lady Vols 59-56. For foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
The Eagles start onto the field, and so Vrabel says, okay. And he heads over to shake hands with Nick Sirianni, who he knew in Kansas City when he was a player and Sirianni was just trying to make his way into the league. Today, Sirianni makes his way to 11-1 as the Eagles win over the Titans 35-10.
35-10, the final score, and lots more of your phone calls coming up at 615-737-1045 on Reaction Monday on the show that is not entering the transfer portal, even though literally everyone else in college sports is this morning.
I can't keep up. Every time I refresh my timeline, so-and-so's transferring.
These aren't like just guys that's not playing. Some
No,
of them
these
are
are
starters.
names.
Yeah, they are.
Some of them like 4-star guys from like a year ago.
Yeah.
It's really free agency, man.
With Ramon Foster and Kayla Anderson, I'm Will Bowling, the best producer in the world, taking many of your phone calls this morning. His name is Jonathan Schaefer.
The best producer in the world.
Can we get a wellness check on Jonathan Schaefer talking to so many people this morning?
Oh, my goodness.
Man, I'm good.
The people are feeling not great, but are you feeling okay?
I'm great.
Check in.
Slept
Okay.
well.
Perfect. You did sleep well. Okay, good.
Yeah, I'm awesome.
That makes one of us.
Really glad. Yeah, that does make one of us.
Yeah. Kayla hasn't slept in 3 days.
Probably not.
Oh, man.
Probably not.
Oh, man. 615-737-1045 is the number this morning. The question Ramon Foster asks before the break, does Mike Vrabel deserve more say in personnel decisions for the Tennessee Titans? Because we all saw the clip of the second A.J. Brown's trade was officially announced and Traylon Burks was drafted. The reaction from Mike Vrabel at that point, and they'll spin that however they want to and say it's different conversations, whatever it is. But it's not just that, but it's the entire body of work now and the personnel issues facing this team that makes this a legitimate question. Does Mike Vrabel have enough say in what Titans personnel decisions are being made?
Yeah. And this, if you don't remember the clip, it is when, like Will said, they traded A.J. Brown, and it showed kind of Vrabel off in the corner a little, just with a look of, what did we just do on his face? I can't exactly know what he was thinking, but that's what it looked like to any viewer that was watching. One thing I'll say about this is both John Robinson and Mike Vrabel seem to be kind of guys that are within their ways, right?
Mm-hmm.
Kind of stuck in the ways they do things. And sometimes I feel like that could maybe hurt them in ways when it comes to decision making. maybe making decisions that might be taking a risk, because they're both kind of the way that they do things. That's how they want to do things.
Yeah.
So I think there is a tidbit of disconnect there.
Just a smidge of it. Yeah, I'm going back now just to relook at it. And yeah, you see a little bit of just angst on Vrabel's face because he understands what players mean. Like, it's one thing for, the game plan, but the Jimmys and Joes matter a bit much. We had, who was the guy? Philly Bill. What was his name they called him? The Philly fan a second ago to just call in.
Just a Philly. I can't remember.
He was a Philly fan.
We've talked to so many people today.
And the reason I bring this up is because he said, like, our personnel was just better. And I think that's what it was yesterday. The last couple of weeks it's been like that a little bit. Where the personnel, in a sense, it's just been different. There's levels to it. Like, it's one thing to build a roster, and it's another thing to really just stack on top of years. Like, we got practice squad guys. We got guys as second streamers. And as fragile as this roster has been this year because of injuries, you start to question it a little bit. Well, what are we looking at as far as how we evaluate and stack this roster up? That's the old sports cliche. You're as good as your weakest link. And if your weakest link is playing left tackle right now, it's not that good.
Well, someone new needs to be evaluating offensive linemen. It's the fact of the matter at this point that there is a disconnect between what the Titans need at that position.
So you're talking about scouts specifically?
I don't know if it's scout. Like, it's not it's an organizational problem. It's not one person. We don't know how much of that is John Robinson, how much of that is Mike Vrabel, how much of that is
the scouting department, right?
Whoever it is. The accountability falls on the general manager for that. I think Mike Vrabel is going to get a lot of the benefit of the doubt, obviously, as the coach of the year in the NFL and what he's been able to do with the undrafted player and with the guy off the street that wasn't here in training camp that has filled a role in this defense and specifically the defense and has been turned into a good player.
Yeah.
There are plenty of success stories to back up what Mike Vrabel has done with guys that are not household names. But Mike Vrabel also flocks to, I'll give you the one example, the Aaron Brewers of the world. I think Mike Vrabel is apt to give that kind of player more of a chance than most other coaches and most other organizations.
I think that's fair. I actually think it's fair to give Brewer that opportunity when you don't re-sign Sappho. Number one, you got to find a replacement. Brewer's been here for a while. He gets his opportunity to shine.
And you have to when your draft picks haven't hit. Somebody's got to play the position, right?
Yeah.
And you don't have money to.
And haven't you talked
pay
about line? It's not an easy position to find guys that are successful.
It's not. Most lines have about 3 high pedigree guys. Mm-hmm. You have a solid starter, and then you have a guy you say, man, he's a good role player. He's going to build into something even more. I think that's Aaron Brewer in a sense, okay? But the contingency of Aaron Brewer being your starter is this. He fits your mindset and mantra of what you want your team to be. Aaron Brewer is also fine when you have Ben Jones to the right of him and Taylor Lewan potentially to the left.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
That's when you can put a guy in there like that says, well, even if he isn't what we want at that position, he's covered by a couple guys that we really trust. And that's the issue. Now you have Ben missing a couple games, and then you have Taylor out for the season. Now you get a guy like Aaron Brewers that's exposed a little bit more. That becomes the issue right there. So you're dang if you do, dang if you don't in that scenario with him. And you couldn't go draft a guy. Right? That wasn't an option for you because you thought you was going to have Taylor and you thought you was going to have Ben the rest of the year too.
And you had other needs.
You had to
replace the production of A.J. Brown, and you tried to do it mainly through free agency and with Treylon Burks.
And remember they brought in Jamarco Jones?
Yeah.
And he's never come off. Isn't he still on IR?
Yeah,
but that's for real.
That's
a guy who had experience. He was with the Seahawks. You brought him. People don't even know who that is.
That's a name we've not talked about in a long time.
But even still, how comfortable you feel about that if he's into the starting spot right now? You don't. I'm going to be honest. I wouldn't.
So let me ask you this, Ramon. Is this the time when Mike Vrabel talks about we've got to go back to the drawing board and we're at a crossroads of how we're going to win on offense? Is Dylan Radins a part of Plan B, or maybe this is Plan C, because Plan B was probably starting after week 3 after the loss to Buffalo. Is Dylan Radins a part of the future for the Titans on the offensive line to reshuffle and try different things?
I just don't know where at, though. I don't. Left tackle, I don't know how I feel about him because I don't love his feet. I don't. At tackle. NFL tackle, it's okay to say, man, you're a damn good college tackle. Not an NFL.
That can't be fixed.
Yeah. No, that's not where we're at. Your feet are what they are unless you're just a technician at that position. At guard, Brewer, maybe. I mean, you going to pull him out? Has he – I'd almost like to say, has he actually lost the job, though? Can you justifiably say he's lost the job if you're going to put Radins in?
How challenging would it be in the middle of a season to put Nicholas Petit-Frere at left tackle and Dylan Radins at right tackle?
Well, that's a conversation to be had then. That one I feel better about saying, okay, NPF, you're gonna be the guy. But then you also switches up what Nate got to go through on the other side. It's too much of musical chairs to actually make a move like that. I think when Vrabel said what he said, we got evaluating what we're doing offensively. I think that was a shot at Todd Downing. Simply put, Todd, why are we doing the same thing over and over again? I think that was his way of saying it publicly. If you see somebody else calling plays or there's a conversation around what we did offensively, it's because I now see that this isn't the pathway that we're used to. Again, you hire some coaches sometime because you know there's an scapegoat. And Todd, to me, is an easy scapegoat because his offensive production, style, philosophy hasn't changed, hasn't adapted. We heard, again, Philly didn't run the ball downhill into the teeth of the Titans' defensive tackles. Okay. Week in and week out, you can count on the Titans running the ball downhill into the teeth of defensive linemen. Last week, DJ Reader. The week before that, the same exact thing. And teams are saying, the way teams are selling out to stop the run, to me, says you got a village idiot calling it. If that's the case, why are we going to continually bang our head up against the wall and run Derek into the ground week in and week out if it's not working? Look at the way the linebackers are shooting the gap against this offense. If they get him started, if Derek can't get started, this offense moves absolutely nowhere. Defensive linemen are just spearheading themselves in the backfield. And guess what happened? Derek trips up, offense is done. Second and long, third and long. Who you going to in those situations right there? Nobody. It's absolutely idiotic at this point. You had Brandon Graham. I'll go back to this clip. I retweeted it. Brandon Graham said what everybody in the NFL thought about this Titans D offense. Derrick Henry, he's your king. King Henry, where is he? Where are y'all at now? Because all they heard all week long, if you stop 22, you win the game. And I know Traylon went out. But if you only got one wide receiver, then you got nobody.
Oh, y'all. Everybody said King Henry. Yeah,
Yeah, that was Brandon Graham post-game.
Oh, was
he's
that?
walking off the field yesterday.
Play it one more time, Shafe, if you got it, man.
Give me 1 second.
Yeah, he pretty much said, all y'all said him.
Best producer in the world.
Yeah. Oh, y'all. Everybody said King Henry. Yeah,
And there you go.
So Ramon is off the DA train.
Look, it's at some point, even us as players realize, look, we can't fight City Hall. Spread this thing out. Get us a better situation. Like, it'd be one thing if we had Ron left still. And I'm just saying in general. Mm-hmm. In general,
That's
Ron, it don't matter if Taylor, it don't even matter if it's not Taylor, if it's NPF. Give me zone right, outside zone. Give me zone left. We're getting A-gap to A-gap. And I know that's Derek's style of running. But I hadn't seen a guard pull kick out anybody. I hadn't seen a real good toss in a while. I hadn't seen a redirection run. It's just Derek 7 yards in the backfield. Tannehill get the ball, snap, turn, and run into the A-gap.
In the break, Ramon is literally watching the game over and just analyzing the O-line. And we're just hearing,
as much as
it's tough.
As much as we're going to say this O-line is bad, like. As much as we want to say that, if you know what I'm doing every single play and I'm a little deficient, meaning we don't have a Philly-like line, then you're really not helping us at all. Nothing's helping us at that point.
We go back to the phones next at 615-737-1045. Coach B, one of our favorites, will lead us off on the other side. Much more of your reaction And we go rapid fire on your reaction on the phone lines at 615-737-1045. Next on Ramon, Kayla, and Will, 1045 The Zone.
Come on, man.
Yeah, gave him opportunity to make a play on the ball. I try to tell them, they don't listen sometimes. I try to tell them that, be ready, the ball could come your way. He made a play on the ball. That's a big boy catch. That's a grown man's catch.
There's Jalen Hurts post-game as the Eagles beat the Titans 35-10 on Ramon, Kayla, and Will, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors, 104.5 The Zone. Much more of your action coming up as you can join us at 615-737-1045. A good game for Jalen Hurts.
I like that guy. He's growing on me in
Play
terms of just his play and his attitude, man. I'm like, I'd root for that dude.
Yeah, 100%. He makes it easy. Just a tough-minded guy at that, too. I saw when he got the you never see any emotions out of him.
No.
But when he pulled out on that false start against them towards, I think it was like 3rd and 1 or 2nd and 1 or something like that.
It was.
And he was laughing. I was like, oh, he tried one right there. I was like, oh, he finally showed emotions when he's trying to get people.
That's right. One of the 1,800 false starts on the Eagles yesterday.
In their own home field, at their own home field. That's crazy.
They were bizarre.
Isn't that weird?
They were going silent count. Was it because Philly fans were booing them?
No,
I don't think so.
They went silent count like early in like the first quarter or so.
I think there were a good amount of Titans fans.
I was respecting the Eagles fans that were booing their team.
Yeah.
It's like you're the top team in the league, but you keep screwing up. So Philly's like, you suck, boo.
Yeah,
I think that's great.
Went silent.
Titans have had 2 wild fan bases to play the last 2 weeks between Philly and Cincinnati.
Mm-hmm.
So,
God, and 2 good quarterbacks.
and maybe the 2 best teams in each conference to play at this point.
Everybody hurt.
Jalen Hurts specifically. 615-737-1045. Coach B up next on the phone lines. Good morning, Coach B.
What's up, Coach B?
Hey, what's cracking, people? What's cracking?
How we doing?
Look here. I was going to get on here and I was going to light them Titans, them terrible Titans up. And I said, you know what? I ain't even going to do it today, man. I'm gonna take my energy and focus on something else, man. I'm going to tell you some real story yesterday. Man, I was watching that game, and I just had rotator cuff surgery.
Mm-hmm.
I promise you, I tried to throw the remote, man, and I moved my arm, and next thing I know, I was in the fetal position.
Feel that.
Oh, no.
But not doing it again. So I said, you know what? Let's take our energy somewhere else today. When I get off the phone, I get out of this McDonald's line, I'm gonna go home and take me some pain pills, and I'm gonna be out for a couple of hours. So, you know what I'm saying? So we on that this morning. So man, look here, 2 things real quick. One, how they gonna let AJ Brown of all people get off on them? Man, this dude scored a touchdown. He act like he was taking his belt off, giving the Titans a whooping, and then after the whooping, he gave him a hug, said, "I still love you."
Oh.
I said, man, that's crazy. 2, look here. I want to tell y'all how good y'all did broadcasting of the games this weekend at the high school, the championship games. Freaking awesome.
Thank you.
Freaking awesome. Hey, that number. First, congratulations to East and Pearl. Okay,
Yeah,
my son goes
absolutely.
to East, and Pearl is our rival school. Much love to both of them programs. But I'm gonna tell you what, man. That 25 for Anderson County. That boy is a dog.
Hey, no, Gavin, no. Gavin, no. Said a whole lot of yes this weekend.
He's a dude.
Man, hey, I might go home and rewatch some of them games, but I remember him. It was just crazy. The way that game started off, I thought it was going to be 70-80 because I'm like, Pearl came out, was not playing. I was like, ooh, look at them boys.
Yeah.
And then it just settled down. That number 25, oh, my God.
Yeah, Gavin,
That's right.
Had a day, man. He
Thank
won
you, Coach B.
MVP, too. Thanks, Coach B. Coach
Appreciate
B,
you listening, as
NFL
always.
and high school levels.
I will say this before we get to Titans, which, of course, we're going to do and continue to react to. It was cool being in Chattanooga and seeing 2 different Metro Nashville public schools get to play for state championships.
Yeah, that's
First
awesome.
year that had ever happened where 2 Metro Nashville teams made state the same weekend.
Oh, wow.
And Jamal Stewart, the East Nashville coach, said last week, we want to change the stigma around our teams of people that think we just got good athletes and don't have good coaches. You've got outstanding coaches coaching those Metro Nashville
Great.
teams right now. And Jamal Stewart and Tony Brunetti, respect to those guys, a tip of the cap for those guys. The job they do off the field and on the field is exemplary.
And by the way, Coach
Had to
Brunetti,
get that out of the
man,
way.
made it a point to be like, in our coaches
Yeah.
meeting stuff, like, no. We got a lot of discipline. We got a whole lot of fanfare. We got a whole lot of good people around our organization.
Yes, they do.
And we showed it. I think that group could be back. A little bit of quarterback play. Just Anderson County was solid.
Mm-hmm.
I can't give it to him, but so was Pearl. That game could have went either way. Pearl's quarterback was out on the last drive, I think because of like a rib or something, and they had a backup, and he threw the ball up for an interception. They had nobody left, and Anderson County, Gavin, no.
Yeah. Right. So, yeah, tip of the cap to them. Cool being out there this weekend. 615-737-1045. The other point Coach B makes that I think is the right one is the same thing that Michael Strahan said at halftime of this game on Fox. And don't often get to watch Fox, right? Titans are typically on CBS, so you get a little bit of a different perspective from those guys. Michael Strahan said, man, if I'm the Titans, I'm letting anybody else beat me on that Eagles team than A.J. Brown. Just for the sole reason that you have to, right?
Yep.
And that's what makes Philadelphia so impressive. And Mike Keith asked Mike Vrabel about this as his first question post-game of the Titans locker room report and said, were you surprised how quickly Philadelphia went away from the run?
Mm-hmm.
Because Philadelphia is a run-first team just like you are.
Yep.
And Miles Sanders had 10 carries for 24 yards in this game. As shaky as your offensive line was and as bad as you were running the football, you still outgained Philadelphia running the ball. Difference is that Philadelphia is much more balanced and much more well-rounded than you are on offense.
Yes.
They can do 3 or 4 different things in order to win a football game. And you can't. Not right now.
They're more weapons. Yeah, they've been great in the run game. Yeah, you could shut it down. That doesn't matter because Jalen Hurts was just dishing it out to guys. Hey, here, you want a ball? You want a ball? You want a touchdown?
Yep. Everybody got a spin yesterday. Their tight end, the young guy, Jack Stoll, didn't really get much, but he kept hitting him over the middle and just getting extra yardage to continue drives. It was a lot of that, man. And again, this is the delegation of passes also showed itself. AJ, 10 targets. Devontae, 8. And everybody else fell behind in that order. You know what I'm saying? Yesterday for the Titans. I know Traylon was on. He was getting ready to get started. But you look at Chig, 5 targets. Austin Hooper, 5. Robert Woods, 5, 1 catch.
Mm-hmm.
Not okay. If we're looking at this game, it should be Traylon, it should have been Austin, and then everybody else after. You know what I'm saying? But it's hard with the personnel on this team.
It's very hard.
And that's the issue that will just follow us from the rest of this season to the playoffs and to the offseason. I know that for a fact, man. It'd be interesting to see how Vrabel adjusts to what he said offensively and truthfully, just the personnel of the rest of his team.
Right. 615-737-1045, the number. Prophet Dave has been hanging out, ready to chime in with us. What's going on, Prophet Dave?
What's up, Dave?
Yes, sir. Good morning, lady and gentlemen, to the producers. Thank y'all for everything you do for us in the sports arena.
Thank you.
That was nice. I like that.
I like to talk impact. Everybody's going to, drop the hammer on the Titans. We done heard it. During the loss of a player like A.J. Brown, do the players go through some type of counseling? Because it's almost like losing a parent, a child, or emotionally. I think that game had to happen yesterday because there needs to be some healing going on between the players, Titans, and even A.J. Brown. And everybody talked about what he did yesterday. I mean, like in the movie The Waterboy, I mean, he had the playbook. He toyed with them all day long, and he could have because he was the inside man pretty much from the Titans.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks, Dave. Appreciate the call. I mean, I think
it's out of A.J. Brown's system.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll say that much.
Yeah.
And oftentimes that's what it takes, right? I mean, Freddie Freeman comes back to Atlanta as a Dodger for the first time this past year, and it's like you could finally move on. Like this was as early as I think a lot of people could move on from the A.J. Brown trade, was A.J. Brown getting that chance to play against this team.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think now will kind of begin the next step in his tenure as a Philadelphia Eagle. I mean, he's not a Titan anymore.
It's done.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't play them for the next 3 years if the cycle is right, I think.
615-737-1045, the number. Chad is in Nashville and up next on the phone line. Say, Chad.
Hey, how you doing?
Good morning, Chad.
Man, I call in every Monday. I called in last Monday. Y'all said I was aggravated, and I was kind of frustrated, but I'm still frustrated. But anyway, man, common sense, man. We ain't got the receivers, and we ain't got the quarterback, man. A.J. Brown and Tannehill had a bun. You see what A.J. Brown did? He got traded to another team. He fit right in, man. He catching passes like he was doing with us. We still needed A.J. Brown. They needed to work out a contract with A.J. Brown so he can get to the money. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, and we can't run Henry up the middle all day. I mean, come on, bro. We come into the Eagles. They already didn't watch this. They can't throw the ball. Who are we going to throw it to?
Mm-hmm.
Robert Woods dropped the ball. He got butter on his gloves. And then I looked at the salary of the players. Bro, it's crazy how much these players are getting paid. And they ain't doing nothing. I mean, come on, bro. Somebody got to step in and say, hey, it ain't going the way it should be going. We need to fire somebody. When you at Popeye's Chicken and the chicken is not right, they fire them. You know what I'm saying? Let's hire somebody else, man. We need to fire some people, bro.
Thank you for calling.
Hit him with
Best
the fried
analogy
chicken.
this
With the
morning.
fried chicken. That's a man after Ron Slay's heart right
I
there.
swear.
When the fried chicken ain't right, you get fired.
Hey, right now, Chad said the chicken is underdone.
That's great.
It did not hit 160 is basically what he said. God, oh.
I mean, that is the thing that's difficult is the chemistry with the wide receivers. That I mean, it was obvious how close Ryan Tannehill was with A.J. Brown. This is not a quarterback issue to me, though. I mean, saying that you don't have the wide receivers, you don't have the QB, you don't have the wide receivers, but you also don't have the offensive line to help your QB. So what is? I don't know what is. I'll ask it. I'm not. This isn't a rhetorical
What's that?
question.
Go ahead.
What is a realistic expectation for Ryan Tannehill now with this group of receivers and linemen that he has?
You want my real answer?
Yeah, I mean,
my real answer is
what do we really expect Ryan Tannehill to be?
Right now, we're in a reset.
Yeah.
That's just where it is.
We are.
There's more of the season to be hashed out. And I don't want to say it's null and void. I don't want to go that far. But there isn't a whole lot of help to be had. So this is at a point to where you got to start just building. Well, like what his receivers and tight ends have been out so much this year that he really hasn't built any chemistry with them. And that's why I'm just like, you're almost at a point to where, all right, scratch this page and let's start new. Austin Hooper didn't get started to about week 4, 5, or 6.
Yeah.
Bobby Trees, same
He's
thing.
been inconsistent.
Traylon in, and then he was out for over 4 weeks, or about 4 weeks. Look, Chig, not really incorporated in the offense either as much as you want him to be. So where is the cohesion other than Derek? The screen game last game was beautiful, but that was just that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And if Traylon doesn't hold, this is the most disheartening part of it. If Traylon gets hit yesterday and doesn't hold on to that ball, where do the points come from with this team?
I mean, they might not.
Yeah. And they've not been great in the red zone like we've addressed earlier today.
Exactly. Not as of late, because if
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. If the run game ain't clicking, and what Vrabel said yesterday after the game, Will, that was so telling. Has he ever been that transparent against one of his guys?
It's not often.
Not often.
No.
Not often. And here's another point to make. When Derrick Henry is good after a loss in terms of talking to the media, that's not a good thing always.
Wow.
Because he knows what's at stake. He knows that he's doing not as much as he can, but he also knows it's not all on him, but he can't say that.
He can't say that.
Right?
No, just like the defense can't say, man, y'all need to help us out. They can't say that either.
But he knows he's got to be the guy that goes to the podium when things are not good and be like, we have to stay together. We can't point fingers. He has to be that dude. Yep. And that's what he had to do yesterday.
And there are not a lot of running backs who are forced into that position.
No.
To be the PR person.
Right.
And we're not blaming Titans PR.
No,
I mean,
this is just
Derrick Henry's the guy, right?
Maybe it's the head that wears the crown.
It's not anybody's fault. It's just the position you're in. And I mean, I go back to last year, guys. If we want to get really real for a minute.
Yeah.
The one member of the offense that spoke to the media last year after the loss to Cincinnati, AJ Brown.
No, that was locker cleanout day.
Other members of the offense spoke to the media after the game. I'm talking about locker room cleanout day last year. Who's the guy that was held accountable?
AJ Brown.
AJ.
And that is why a lot of fans couldn't get over Tannehill for so long, because he couldn't take accountability in the moment that he probably needed.
Yep.
So,
I mean, that's the fact of the matter at this point. Those are only facts. Do with that what you will. But the guy that faced the noise last year on locker room cleanout day after your season ended in a disappointment is
AJ Brown
pulling out his towel and whipping the goalpost, which was weird.
but then he did give a hug.
He did give a hug.
I'm surprised it wasn't a flag for a prop. I'm not complaining about
I
this
thought
isn't
it
me
was,
sour
too.
grapes of he should get a penalty for that. I don't care. But it was kind of weird.
Vrabel and his exchange pregame though was kind of cool to see.
Yeah, it was.
Mm-hmm.
And John Robinson.
Yeah.
Gave him a hug before the game.
Yeah.
I mean,
Everybody was hugging.
I honestly, that surprised me more than anything. It surprised me how cordial he was with John Robinson and Mike Vrabel before the game.
I think that's why I held true. So the initiation of he wanted to be here. It got personal when you told me I wasn't worth what I knew I was worth.
615-737-1045, the number if you want to add your reaction to the mix. And when we come back, Gil in California will lead us off. Much more of your phone calls as we get more reaction to the Titans' loss in Philly. Next, Ramon, Kayla, and Will, 1045 The Zone.
In-stock inventory is back at Two Rivers Ford. The truckloads of vehicles we've been waiting for all year have made it past all the supply chain kinks and onto Two Rivers Ford lot. Finally, I'm talking about F-150s, Explorers, Edges, Escape. Two Rivers has them all in every color and with a variety of trim levels and options. Yes, and don't forget, Two Rivers Ford sells all non-specialty new Fords below MSRP, so you're going to get a great price. And when it comes to financing, Two Rivers Ford is offering great financing rates this month, starting at just 2.9%. Yes, look at everybody else's averages, way above that. Trust me, I saw it. Also, I always like to mention that when you do business with Two Rivers, you're doing business with a local dealer that's been around since 1983 with an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau. These are great people, and you'll be in great hands when you deal with them. Just look at their Google reviews. So get online at tworiversford.com or call them at 1-800-900-1000 or go see their non-commissioned salespeople in Mount Juliet, just 7 miles past of BNA Airport. But whatever you do, do it fast before the stock inventory is gone. Two Rivers Ford, powered by Ford, driven by people.
1045 The Zone's annual Toy Field Toy Drive, presented by Hardee's to benefit Salvation Army's Forgotten Angels. Tomorrow, while you're out doing your holiday shopping, remember those in need and pick up a gift or toy and help us build a field of toys tomorrow at Nissan Stadium. Special thanks to Enbright Credit Union, Two Rivers Ford, and the original Memphis Wings. For more info, visit 1045thezone.com.
Looking forward to that. One of the coolest days of the year for the show, for the whole station. Toy Field tomorrow at Nissan Stadium. Excited for that. And excited for another hour and 10 minutes of reaction on this Overreaction Monday on 615-737-1045. That's where you can join us if you want to jump in. We go next to Gil in California on the West Coast and Best Coast.
Hey.
Calling in this morning. Hello, Gil.
Hey, what's up, fellas? I can't wait for a couple of weeks. Hopefully you guys come on out, man.
Absolutely.
My thing that hurts the most with the Titan team right here is that we're a small market team, and we weren't able to keep none of our draft picks. You got Jack Conklin gone, Corey Davis. Now you got A.J. Brown gone, and then you miss out on Caleb Farley, and then the offensive lineman that wanted to be a rapper, and then you got and then here it is. You downgrade from Arthur Smith to Todd Downing, and this is the situation that we're in. You know what I mean? It's just frustrating.
Yeah.
Let's leave it with that.
No doubt, man. We appreciate that call right there.
Thank you, Gil.
That was Isaiah Wilson, if you guys missed the rapper.
Isaiah Wilson, who is a rapper and
not really an athlete.
That's right. 615-737-1045, the number. But Gil is right.
He is, man.
Corey Davis made made a big catch yesterday to put New York in the red zone.
Good for him.
They ended up losing that game to Minnesota, but
no, Mike White is playing crazy.
Ooh, did you see the shirts that they already had made?
He was okay.
Oh,
he was okay.
He was good late.
He was good late.
He was good late.
Mike White does that. He did this last year where it was
the first
incredible for a week and then good for week 2 and then he was terrible.
It was the first time I've really watched the Jets. They're pretty good.
They're decent. Yeah.
Their defense is just.
And they've got some
really
weapons
solid.
on offense. That's a decent team.
They're kind of like, and this is not to say the Jets are going to win the AFC, but it reminds me of when the Titans lost to the Bengals in 2020. You're like, oh, that defense is okay.
Mm-hmm.
And, if their quarterback plays well enough, they've got weapons.
Yeah, they do.
Like, I feel like the Jets are a year behind that. Like, the Titans' 2021 loss to the Jets, you're like, oh, that defense was actually not that bad. And now they've evolved into like, oh, that defense is good.
Mm-hmm. Well, I want to ask something, too, as far as, I guess, outsource a question in a sense and speak about it real quick. Gil brought up something that I'm thinking of. Why didn't the Titans sign back certain players? It's always a conversation around availability. But Jack Conklin has been almost as solid as anybody. He was an all-pro before he left.
Well, he had an ACL when he was
in today's game. It don't matter much.
Well, I don't know about that.
It don't matter much, Will. At that position.
It's mattered for your left tackle.
Well, Taylor,
for Robert Woods.
It's not an ACL for Taylor this time around.
Is it not?
But no, I don't think it is an ACL.
And you also haven't had the same production from, last year, Bud Dupree coming off the ACL. It was a transition season for him. I mean, it's still
I'm okay with the transition season. Like, that's all a part of it, too. I'm looking, okay, for instance, Anthony Davis with the Lakers been injured, but he dropped 55 points last night. There is a method in which you slow it down a little bit, say, when we get him, we're going to be right. AJ's situation, okay, Jack, okay, all pro before he even left. You let that walk. All right, whatever, injuries. Corey, injuries with him. Next thing you know, somebody still signs him. You cut a Dory, somebody still signs him. AJ, injuries, still get signed. There's other guys, and then even the ones that are still here. Caleb, injured, okay? Isaiah, flop, okay? And you see what I'm saying? It's like, it can't get, what is the trend? Why is it this way like that? Is there not enough patience? Is it, okay, cut bait because you're injured all the time situation that happens here?
No, because you're drafting guys who are injured.
Well, that's the issue, too. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's bothersome. And I know there's a 100% injury rate in this league. It is. And when it happens, it is what it is.
Seems like for this team, it is all the time.
I know, and it's always key positions. So I'm just like, goodness gracious, man. Like, at what point something has to change? And Vrabel takes care of the guys in camps. That's what's crazy.
Yeah.
He does. I saw them. It wasn't just banging just faces into one another the entire time. There's a pace to it.
Yeah.
He takes care of his guys. But I'm just like, when you got a guys that's on the fringe like that and just slightly injured, or in this sports world, normally injured, ACL or whatever the case may be, you might want to think about it and invest in it a little bit longer.
615-737-1045. The number at Ramon Kayla Will on Twitter is where you can join in on the conversation as well. And News 2's Davis Nolan tweeting at us. At Ramon Kayla
love you,
Will,
Davis.
saying, can Ramon tell us if there is anything we can do this season to help the offensive line? By the way, hi to my buddy Kayla. He says, Thank you
hi,
for listening,
Davis. I miss you.
Yeah.
He's the best.
What can we do to progress the offensive line?
Take you off the show?
No. No, I'm good.
I'm not saying I'd like that.
I like you guys.
I'm just saying that the fans might really like
show
that.
intro soon, isn't it?
Yeah, that's probably going to be on the show intro. Hey, you know what? This is what I would say. This group got to go out and fight. Just simply go beat somebody up.
Mm-hmm.
Same personnel?
I think it's too much to change a lot right now. We're talking about the last couple weeks of the season. Okay, then we'll throw a guy in and say, hey, here's your opportunity. Prove it. Because this offseason is going to be way different for everybody. That's the thing about the league. You lose your job too. It's either the coaches or the players. And most time, coaches are going to look out for themselves.
So you got to figure it out with the 5 that you've got is what you're saying right now.
Right now.
In the same order that it's currently in.
Because that's the best you got.
Yeah. And I think you're unfortunately right. So that falls on what? Play caller? Help out the offensive line?
No, 100%.
Okay.
No, I'm not even going to back down on that. That's 100%. Why fight City Hall?
So do you expect to see anything different offensively Sunday against the Jags?
We better see something differently. Because I feel like that's the same thing. Let's go back to the game that put a black eye on the Vol season. South Carolina. I know we're up against it in a second. But South Carolina, they knew they needed something. And if you talk to anybody close to that program, it wasn't Satterfield calling that. Well, it was him holding the play sheet, but it was an incorporation of somebody else on their staff's offense. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And what happened behind that? Satterfield go gets another job with Matt Rule and Nebraska.
Yeah, and I will say that if someone else, whether it's Tim Kelly or whoever it is, takes over more responsibilities, you're not going to know.
And
you might see it on the field. You might see the fruit of it. But Mike Vrabel is not going to come out and say, yeah, we're making a change at play caller.
And this is the thing, too. Nobody mentioned much about Shane Bourne. Whenever you had Tim Kelly on, what's his name on the roster last year?
Jim Schwartz.
Jim Schwartz.
Yeah.
Right? It's okay to ask for, hey, man, look, we had a philosophy in our building. We don't care where good ideas come from. If it helps us win,
just
let us know.
Yeah. 615-737-1045 is the number this morning. Final hour of the show next. Already. Fourth quarter. 4's up.
Already?
Around Middle Tennessee and beyond. Jason in Nashville will lead us off on the phone lines. Next, more of your reaction as we close out the show on Ramon, Kayla, and Will, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors, right here at 104.5 The Zone.
It's Ramon Foster for one of the best bars around, if not the best bars around, Craftsman on the Hill, located in Hermitage to be exact. 3424 Lebanon Pike in Hermitage, Tennessee. Listen to me, one of the best menus around that takes bar food to an all-new level, featuring, you got to have these if you're going in there. They're delicious smoked wings, okay? Phenomenal. I had them with the white sauce, fire, okay? But the bar food includes, of course, burgers, quesadillas, chicken sandwiches, chicken tenders, several homemade sauces, and yes, it's cold outside. You need something to warm your insides up a little bit beside the spirits you're going to have there. There's smoked brisket chili served every single day, and on Friday, you can get you one of those catfish plates. Take it home, have it at the bar, don't matter. And every single night, there is something going on too. Tonight, trivia night, Tuesday, karaoke, dart league night, whatever, poker tournaments throughout the week too. It is the place for you to go to Monday through Sunday. Plenty of TVs to watch your favorite sports and sports team. Best thing about it, locally owned and operated under new management. Your favorite beer, spirit, and plenty of nightly drink and food specials. Again, Craftsman on the Hill, located 3424 Lebanon Pike in Hermitage.
9:01. Good morning. I'm Jonathan Schaefer from the Superbook.com Sports Desk. Jalen Hurts threw for 380 yards and 3 touchdowns. A.J. Brown, 8 catches for 119 yards and 2 scores as the Philadelphia Eagles routed the Tennessee Titans 35-10 at Lincoln Financial Field. Philadelphia scored 21 unanswered points. The Titans' only touchdown, a 25-yard connection from Ryan Tannehill to Traylon Burks.
Here's the 3rd and 3 throw. Tannehill pumps, throws for the end zone. Ball is, did he catch it? There's a penalty marker in the end zone as Burks went up. I think they have signaled touchdown Titans.
Don't know how he held on to it, but he did. He was also concussed on the play. Traylon Burks was. David Long Jr. and Christian Fulton also injured yesterday. Meanwhile, Derrick Henry limited to 30 yards on 11 carries. The Titans will try to snap their 2-game losing streak on Sunday when they host the Jags. The final college football playoff rankings: Georgia number 1, Michigan number 2, TCU remained at number 3. Ohio State moved up to number 4. Alabama number 5 will play in the Sugar Bowl. Number 6, Tennessee will face Clemson. That's a lot of orange in the Orange Bowl. For the Vols, it'll be their first Orange Bowl berth since 1998. Locally, the Music City Bowl will host Iowa and Kentucky. College basketball, number 13 Vols blasted Alcorn State 94-40. Illinois State defeated Belmont in MVC play 87-77. MTSU defeated number 18 Louisville 67-49 in women's hoops. Number 9 Virginia Tech defeated the Lady Vols 59-56. For foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
The Eagles start onto the field, and so Vrabel says, okay. And he heads over to shake hands with Nick Sirianni, who he knew in Kansas City when he was a player and Sirianni was just trying to make his way into the league. Today, Sirianni makes his way to 11-1 as the Eagles win over the Titans 35-10.
Fourth and final hour of the show on Ramon, Kayla, and Will, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors on 104.5 The Zone. Don't call him Jerome, call him Ramon Foster. He's an 11-year NFL veteran. Kayla Anderson, and the best producer in the world, Jonathan Schaefer, making the show happen for us. You can talk to him and then talk to us at 615-737-1045. And Raymond, it's been a fast show this morning, hasn't it?
Oh, my God.
You're
getting all the names.
My name get butchered, man. I'm like, I got called by the producer. I guess he just heard somebody just in passing say Ramon and her or something like that. He was like, hey, really good point right there, Jerome. I was like,
oh, God.
Well, if you want to call in on Jerome, Kyla, and Bill, 615-737-1045.
Oh, my God. Our alter ego show.
Yeah, if you don't like the show
That's
and
really
are looking for
funny.
somewhere to criticize us, just go to @Jerome, Kyla, and Bill. And you can leave as many 1-star reviews as you possibly could want there. Maybe don't. If you don't like the show, just go tell those people.
We're going to have an account now up here on
That's
Twitter.
Jerome, Kyla, and Bill's fault. That's not Ramon, Kayla, and Will's fault.
If you don't like the show, then
you, Aaron Rodgers.
I don't care.
You can call the worst producer in the world, Justin Schaefer.
Yeah,
if you do
Josh.
so.
I used to get called Josh.
You were Josh.
Right, there you go.
We had a Joshua Schaefer in our school that was no relation, so yeah, I used to get called Josh.
Dude, the producer in my ear, me and Don was making points or whatever, was like, hey, Don, Jerome, really good points right there. I was like,
So he was not the best producer in the world.
He was cool. He was cool as ever. But I was like, my name showed up on the TV screen that you put up there. Like, you put that up there.
This dude just did this.
I was Jerome. I was like, you know what, Kyla, I'm not even going to do it anymore.
Did you just call me Kyla? See, I can't even hear it. It makes my ears explode.
It bothers you. I
hate seeing Jonathan Schaefer writing anything down in there, and it's because it means something that we've just said is going to be brought back up against our will later on in the show.
I'm Jerome. I was like, this ain't the 70s. I've yet to meet another Jerome.
Oh my gosh.
We need to. Robert Walsh, the best substitute teacher in the world, does a great job making like funny promos for all the shows. I think we need to task Robert Walsh with making a Jerome, Kyla, and Will intro.
Jerome, Kyla, and Will. Yeah. Bill.
Or Bill, sorry.
Bill.
Jerome, yeah, my name is the one that gets to say the same. Jerome, Kyla, and Bill.
Yeah, man. Golly.
That was one of my nicknames in college was Bill Wolling.
Bill Wolling. I can believe it.
That's right. 615-737-1045. We got a Jason in Nashville up next joining us. Good morning, Jason.
Hey, thanks for taking my call. Hey, man, look, I don't know what's going on in the NFL. Like, I'm so confused, man. Like, I'm a Niners fan originally, so you watch Trey Lance go down, tear his ACL, and then Jimmy's out for the year. I mean, this is it's not just with the Titans, but I don't know. I just wanted to voice my opinion on John Robinson. I know it's clear, like Kevin Dyson said, they're not going to get rid of John Robinson. They're going to base it off of what they consider a successful year, making it to the playoffs since he's been here. But can we find him like another position? Maybe he can just work the Titans pro shop, or just manage the people that clean the stadium after the games instead of making draft decisions and big decisions like this. Because when AJ took his belt off, that was showing I'm whooping your butt, but I still love you. But I'm showing you who Daddy is. So I mean, this is ridiculous. And John Robinson has to take accountability on letting this man walk. And the reason why I say that is, you heard Mike Vrabel say, as long as he is the coach of the Tennessee Titans, A.J. Brown will not go anywhere. Well, we've seen that didn't matter what he thought. So y'all have a blessed day.
Thank you, Jason.
Yeah.
A little harsh, but
I mean, in hindsight, that's going to be the conversation that's going to be had.
Yeah.
And this fan base is smart enough, Will, to know when to be ticked off a little bit. You know, Kayla? Like, they're seeing it.
You kind of saw this coming today, right?
Yeah, you did. And now I think that's the biggest one. We saw this coming.
Yeah.
And it's an ugly situation to be in because it's 5 games left in the regular season. The Jaguars have what every other team the last 2 teams that have beaten the Titans have. That's a good defensive line. If they're able to stop Derek, if we don't get different play schemes offensively, and that's the biggest point because I don't really worry too much about the defense. I don't personally. I worry about the points that's got to be put up. Mm-hmm. That's the biggest issue when you're playing the game the way you do right now, and that's downhill, up the middle. When was the last time you saw a guard pulling in this offense?
Doesn't have much.
And they're athletic enough.
Yeah, that's true. 615-737-1045, the number. Cornbread is up next this morning on the show. What's going on, Cornbread?
Good morning, Will, Kayla, and Mom.
Hey.
Shout out to Shake. Woo woo. As a lifelong Saints fan, let me tell y'all, it could be a lot worse. I do agree that the shot on Traylon Burke was dirty. That player should be fined and suspended. I do agree that the Titans offense would be better off with Ray Charles calling plays.
Oh, wow.
But once again, it can still be worse. You could be a Saints fan like I am. I'm not going to abandon my team because they sorry right now. But I knew when Drew Brees retired and then Sean Payton retired, I had to look at my partner and I said, oh, no, we're Vanderbilt again. Will, one more thing, go Vols.
Thank you, Cornbread.
Go.
Grab your swim trunks for South Beach in a couple weeks. Yeah, the black and gold's the same. So.
Go Vols.
I don't know.
Thank you, Babs. Yeah. Well, I guess it is what it is with him in that sense. And Cornbread's situation them is very interesting because of how they sold out for certain players and a run at the Super Bowl too. I think it was full neglect to give Taysom Hill the contract that he got, expecting him to do something from that, and they still have yet to commit to a quarterback. They're probably just going to get one of these top guys coming out soon.
Talk about the guy that needs to be selling jerseys at the pro shop.
Yeah, for sure.
And the Rams could very well be in that position here because they are right now massively struggling.
Do they have a pick? That's the thing they got to do.
They don't.
I mean, they've lost 6 games in a row, and their pick belongs to Detroit.
And by
Detroit?
Detroit
Things
is like heating the heck up.
Things looking up in Detroit.
What up, Dan Campbell?
Why? They built inside out first.
They sure did.
That offensive line. They knew that Goff wasn't the guy.
Yeah,
Jared Goff is warming up there. Literally.
Yeah, warming
His
up to
blood's
go
warming
back
up to the cold.
Yeah, they go back to the West Coast after he's
Colder
done.
city.
Yeah,
Maybe San Francisco will call him now after this season.
Oh,
That San
boy.
Francisco is
I heard
is
somebody
Brock
saying
Purdy.
Garoppolo is
QB1.
done for the season.
Does
Broken
RG3 come out of retirement?
No.
Does Cam get signed?
No.
Does Fitzpatrick get
Where
signed?
is he
Brock
going?
Purdy just beat the
doing this,
Dolphins.
Ramon?
What in the world?
I heard it this morning
Where'd that come from?
before we came
Where?
on. It was this morning before we came on.
Where?
Two Joes. What is it? Two
bros and a couple
pros and a couple
Well,
Joes.
they were being idiots.
Well, they were serious about
Purdy
it.
was Mr.
Brock
Irrelevant.
Purdy won a game against a really good team.
Keyshawn
Well, they've
was
got a
calling him
lot
pretty.
of weapons around him, and
I mean,
they got
he
a
was-
really good defense.
He was
that's
pretty
true.
good.
A lot of weapons.
Keyshawn kept calling him pretty.
You're just going to choose to not laugh at my
he
hilarious
did.
joke? Okay, cool.
Oh, I didn't hear it. What'd you say?
I said he was pretty good.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, very nice. Well,
We still didn't hear it. Well, what'd you say?
Purdy
I said
good.
he was-
Oh, that's okay. We don't want it. No.
Meow.
Meow, 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 meow.
Meow.
Got a death stare at me.
Ramon just did to me of like when you're humming a song and somebody goes up to you and goes, "Oh, who sings that song?" And you tell them, and they're like, "Hey, can you keep it that way?" That's basically what Ramon just
Ramon
did
did
to
the
me.
verbal equivalent of tousling your hair.
I fall for that every time too.
Who sang that song?
Yeah.
You should let them.
Yeah, I really enjoy their rendition of it. Can you not do yours? Thanks.
Wasn't there that Philly? Was it the
737-1045.
lineman who could sing and
Yeah.
he sung the
Joey
intro?
Mailata.
Mulata
Who
guy.
did it? Are Titans fans tired of hearing that audio? I honestly, this is going to sound bad.
Go ahead. No,
The game
let's say it
wasn't
then.
really close enough to like dislike them.
It wasn't.
Like I hear that the Eagles offensive line Christmas album, I'm like, yeah, that's cool.
And it's already sold out
It's
too.
pretty funny.
It's sold out too, Will. What's interesting though is this. You had enough bad things that happened to Philly to where if you were really competing in that game, you could have taken advantage of it too.
Yeah,
I think
of
that's
course.
the one bad
Yeah.
part you can say, I'm ticked off about that.
The door was cracked for you and you didn't walk
Yeah.
through it.
14-10 for a good bit of the first half, right?
With I think 6 penalties just right from the get go in the first quarter.
12
Killing
penalties for 80 yards and the Eagles won by 25.
12.
It's hard to do.
That's at home.
That's hard to do.
I'll say this too, and the way they were super anxious to get going. I'll say this: the respect factor of what the Titans' defense was there because they were trying to go take the fight to the Titans. If we were ever jumping like that, it's like, hey, calm down. It's simply because there's a fight on the other side of the ball, and this group did fight defensively. The Titans did, but it wasn't enough. And I've heard people say this a good bit this morning. Kayla, you said it. Well, you've said it. This defense is look like it's tiring out in the sense of like help us out. You know what I'm saying? It'd be different if you're scoring points or there's long drives to kind of support you a little bit. But it's one of those situations where, all right, here we go again.
Yeah.
There was one drive they were out there for 9 minutes, you know?
That's tough sledding, Kayla.
615-737-1045. And next, more of your phone calls. Caples will lead us off. One of our favorites. One of our finest. Coming up next on Ramon, Kayla, and Will. 1045 The Zone.
It's Ramon Foster from myphdweightloss.com. I know you guys have heard me speak about this time and time again. You guys down over 30 plus pounds. And you know what? I saw it this past weekend. Put on my suit jacket and I was feeling real good about myself. I even saw my producer there, Shafe, look at him and was like, hey, you looking good. I was like, hey, it's no time to be hitting on me right now. But if you're trying to get to where I am and where Buck is, okay?
I believe you, Kiss.
Yeah, see what I'm saying? Go visit My PhD Weight Loss. On average, their male clients lose 3 to 5 pounds a week if done right, and 2 to 3 pounds a week for the female clients. Everybody has a stance to where they want to feel better about themselves. This is where you can take yours. This is a plan specifically for you. There's a weekly call you have to help you guide you into the next week and tell you where you need to be at. And I have those every single Thursday. It's really good times. Again, summertime fine happens in the wintertime, and it is cold. So before you go put on that Speedo or that bikini, go visit myphdweightloss.com and tell them that Ramon sent you.
Me as a player and as a leader just have to go in ready to go and with a great attitude and a focus and intention and just drive our guys to go and prepare, have our best week of preparation and get ready to go play the next one.
There's Ryan Tannehill yesterday after a 35-10 loss to the Philadelphia Eagles, taking accountability and trying to figure out some formula to have some success on offense, something the Titans are not having right now. And we've got 40 more minutes to react with your phone calls at 615-737-1045 before the Buck Rising show. The Lucas Panzica show with Buck Rising takes over.
We've actually got people calling it the Lucas Panzica show.
Yeah,
now.
David on
so
Twitter
happy.
yesterday tweeted right as the game ended and said, the reaction starts tomorrow morning on Ramon, Kayla, and Will, then continues with the Lucas Panzica show, then Blaine and Mickey and 3HL. Really can't wait to listen. And Ramon, Kayla, and Will on Twitter retweeted that and said, yeah, you're right. I love that people are calling it the Lucas Panzica show.
Yeah.
We'll take that victory lap here on. But if Buck gets mad, just tell him that was that other show, Jerome, Kyla, and Bill. That did that. That was not Ramon, Kayla, and Will.
That sounds so off-putting.
Jerome, Kyla, and Bill.
615-737.
You mean that's us in our 60s?
That's us. Yeah, absolutely.
Or honestly, you could call it Slay, Dawn, and Wes, the three people that we've all been mistaken for.
Oh, God.
Every time someone's like, oh, yeah, just call us by the wrong
By the way,
name.
there was a guy this weekend calling me Ron.
Really? That's what I'm saying.
He was like, hey, Slay, man, I used to be behind the stands. I was a video board guy. I was like, yeah, I play football. He's in Nashville right now. Yes, I forgot to tell him about that.
He said, let me clear my throat real quick. Did I stutter? We got a Caples up next on the phone lines, checking in with us. Good morning, Caples. How are you?
Morning, Kate.
Bill, Kyla, Jerome, how y'all doing?
Thank you. We're great.
I love it. We're decent, man. We're decent.
I heard. I'm gonna go ahead and get right into it because I got a lot to say and not a whole lot of time. But I heard Jerome say this morning that Titans fans are smart. They're not smart, man. We got some of the dumbest fans in the NFL. I myself will admit that I have been that. Because Jerome, I had an epiphany this morning, man. We need to start blaming Todd Downing, and it's not Todd Downing's fault. You can't call plays when people can't execute what you call it.
Yeah.
You can't call plays when people can't execute what you call it. When your left guard is getting thrown into the quarterback on every play, how can you expect the play to be successful? When your left tackle is a turnstile and let somebody run past him every time, how can you expect the play to execute? We can't be blaming Todd Downing. The guy we need to be blaming is John Robinson. Ooh. Y'all think about this. John Robinson cried after that loss to the Bengals last year because he knew he screwed up. He went all in on that team last year, all in, cap-wise, everything, to try to make a Super Bowl run, and it failed, and now we paying for it. We've been paying for it with the curse of Isaiah Wilson because the offensive line is terrible. I'm sick of hearing people talk about Derrick Henry done lost a step and he washed up. How can Derrick Henry have any success when he gets the handoff and gets hit in the backfield? Yeah. Right when he gets the handoff. We can't complain. We got good wide receivers as long as Traylon is not hurt, because when Traylon is up, the depth is where it's supposed to be. Traylon's the number one. Nick Westbrook is number two. Robert Woods should be in the slot. Hooper and Chig should always be on the field. But Todd Downing is calling plays with big lineups because he feels like we got to have big boys out there to get Derrick Henry going. Right. But none of them can block. Those five can't block except for maybe Ben Jones and Nate Davis. So how can we sit here and blame Todd Downing anymore when what he calls, they can't execute? Now, granted, he calls some what the heck calls every now and again, but simple calls can't even be executed. John Robinson's feet need to be hot this morning. You drafted bad. You haven't given players depth. One player on the defense goes down, y'all. Think about that. One player on the defense goes down, and we're not talking about Harold Landry. We're talking about Danico Autry. One player goes down, the whole defense is struggling, can't get a pass rush. You're supposed to have depth. You can't keep going getting guys off the street expecting them to come in and do their job. You should have depth if you draft right and you pick up free agents and you manage the cap right, and he hasn't done that. Everybody should be mad at John Robinson this morning. Not Todd Downing, not Derrick Henry. You can be mad at that offensive line, but that's John Robinson's fault too because he picked them. But I'm going to say this and I'm going to leave it. I'm going to get off, guys, and I appreciate y'all giving me this time. the goals of the season are still there. We still win the AFC South. We still make the playoffs. But is that what we really want? Ain't y'all tired of just being just enough? Love y'all. Talk to y'all later.
Thank you, Caples. Appreciate the call. The only thing as a Titans fan that I think gives you hope this morning after that loss is the fact that the worst regular season you've had out of the last 3 was the year you made the longest run.
Ooh.
In 2019.
But is this that year, though?
The odd thing is that the formula has changed, right, to get to 7-5.
Mm-hmm.
Because last year the formula was go to L.A. and win.
Yeah.
Beat Kansas City at home.
Yeah.
Beat Buffalo at home. And then you drop one of the New York Jets that was strange.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you lose one to Houston that you turn the ball over too many times and you lose that one. Here's the difference, guys. Last year the Titans beat themselves in a lot of losses, but they were good enough when they were good to beat good teams.
Correct.
This year, they're not beating themselves against bad teams, and they're beating bad teams, but the ceiling is not as high for this team right now, the way it is currently constructed, to beat the great teams.
Mm-hmm.
That's the biggest difference. They're not beating themselves as much, but they're not beating good teams as much because the ceiling isn't as high, but the floor might be a little bit higher.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you get to this point.
Wasn't that the Eagles' largest margin of victory this year?
Yeah.
25 points.
I think so. And the other issue is, too, that's super disheartening to your point, Will, there was no turnovers on this Titans team.
No.
You know? And you still took an
There
L.
haven't been many.
There haven't been many at all this year. And that's the part that kind of burns you a little bit. It's like, well, man, you're just a step behind. To say you can go into the playoffs, man, and do Titan-like things. I'll say that we saw that not manifest itself the last couple of weeks. Because I'll be the first one to say, okay, you lost that game to Cincinnati. And I said this, I feel like on Monday. Well, the Titans will do Titans-like things. They're going to drag you to the deep end and make you play their style of ball. Mm-hmm. And Philly said, They absolutely did the opposite of what you think they're used to doing as far as the Titans go. They aired it out. They used the run game when they needed to, and they didn't really stick there. You know what I'm saying? They aired it out on this team. We brought up this thing in this conversation earlier. AJ pretty much just self-scouted, I thought, as far as everything with the secondary goes. He didn't give up plays. I don't think AJ know a thing about defensive plays. He gave up personnel information. And that's where the deciding factor came into play with this team for the most part. You can tell the way the Philly offensive line was amped up. He probably was telling them, hey, y'all better fight every single game. They're nasty. They're mean. They're going to push. They're going to do this and they're going to do that. And I feel like that's where the anxiety of Philly jumping off. That's what
I was just going to say.
Yeah, that's why they was jumping off sides, Kayla. On the other side of it, too. Look at the way the DBs played. Like, they did some stuff. The Philly wide receivers did some stuff against this Titans defense. You said, man, they got them. Who'd ever thought that AJ go yard the way he did against Christian? And then the up and under the way he did. And I think when you had Andrew Adams twist AJ's ankle, that was a little bit of I don't even know if he really know AJ like that.
No, I mean, they weren't teammates.
They weren't teammates, but that was one of them, hey, this is for my homies on the sideline type of situation. Because you don't twist nobody ankle like that unless you're a little ticked off.
And the catch that he made on Trey Avery for the second touchdown was the exact play that we've seen him make so many times. Mm-hmm. Against Baltimore in the playoffs 2 years ago, against San Francisco on Thursday Night Football, against Cincinnati in the playoffs last year. I mean, that's who he is.
Mm-hmm. That's who he is.
Yeah. 615-737-1045, the number if you want to jump in. We go next to Trent on line 1 this morning. Hey, Trent.
What's up, guys?
What's up?
Hey, I was calling. I'm kind of going to just echo what Caples was saying. The O-line, I mean, is trash, and you really have no one to blame other than John Robinson. It's like he's handcuffed Vrabel pretty much, the past 2 years as far as that goes. And with Dennis Daly, do you think he's earning Lawan any money for next year? You think we'd bring him back? I think he would be owed $14 million. And at the point as to where we would be drafted, I don't think you're going to be able to find anybody at that point, and you're not really going to find a decent left tackle for $14 million either. I'll hang up and listen.
Thank you for the call, Trent. No, Taylor Lewan, you don't owe him anything on the cap next season. Yeah. You have an out this year. His dead cap hit is 0 next year.
Mm-hmm.
So,
So you think he's done?
Yes. Yeah, I don't think Taylor Lewan will be on this team next season.
You think he'll play at all?
I don't. That's my hunch.
Ramon?
Lawan, I don't think he plays at all.
Okay.
But I'll say this too.
I have no knowledge of that. There's nothing
No,
I've
no,
been
no.
told.
Yeah,
about
I'm
that.
just curious. This is just.
It's just
I'm
the hunch.
I think it's
curious
okay
about
to say
you
that, though. Well, I don't think that's a hot take by saying I don't think he plays.
No.
I would almost venture out to say, like, as many injuries he's had to himself.
31 years old off 2 knee injuries.
Yeah.
Made good bread already. If he wants to bow out a little bit, I think that's okay.
That's purely conjecture on our parts.
Mm-hmm.
There's no knowledge of that. So, I don't know. We'll see. But I don't think he's here. Well, when you originally asked that, I thought you meant just you think he plays at all here, which is no. But I don't know if he plays at all, period.
Yeah, no, I don't think so.
Yeah. 615-737-1045. Steve is in Franklin up next with us this morning. Hey, Steve.
Hey, guys. Love the show. This call is going to go out to all those a win is a win people. I think the reason why the fan base is so frustrated is that a win is not a win when you can't put up 20 points, more than 20 points on a regular basis. Because what we can see and what I would hope the coaches can see is that when it comes time for it to matter in the playoffs, that's just not going to do it. And, yeah, it's great to have some winning regular season games, but we want to see a team that can win a Super Bowl. And so what's keeping us from that? I say it's top down. John Robinson is where we start. To me, my biggest beef with John Robinson this offseason was we could have traded Taylor Lewan to the Giants. They wanted a left tackle really bad for their first round and gotten Evan Neal, who is a stud on offensive line. We could have then had the room to keep A.J. That's a huge mistake by J-Rob, and it's one of many. And the second problem I see is I don't know if it's the dynamic between Mike Vrabel and J-Rob, but Todd Downing he's just been a weakness to this team. I'll close with a stat to back that up, and I'll hang up, but Ryan Tannehill averages 11 yards on play action. Under Art Smith, we ran the most play action in the NFL. Under Todd Downing, we run the least. And to the Coach Mack people that will say, well, you got to be able to run to set up the play action, that's old school football. New school football knows you watch what the other team's doing. They're stopping you run. You pass until they respect the run, and vice versa. That's how play action works. Love to hear your thoughts. Thanks for letting me air it out. Bye.
Thanks, Steve. The only thing I'll disagree with there is you would not have been able to get anything for Lewan coming off of, the injury history that he had recently had last season.
Yeah.
There was not trade value for him with that contract to New York last year.
Low trade value if you're getting anything to it. With his contract, too.
I mean, we're talking, what did the Titans get for Jarrell Casey when they traded him late in his career? A sixth?
Yeah, it wasn't anything.
We're talking
to
like
the Broncos,
probably a fifth. Like, would you rather have a fifth-round pick, or do you want a...
I'd take a fifth. I'll be real with you. I'd take a fifth for Lewan to upload the contract.
That, honestly. Yeah. The point about play action is a fair one. A little different in the NFL than it is in college. You see Tennessee run that play action on so many plays. That it's kind of a different style.
Thing about play action, too, you have to be able to protect it.
Yeah.
And you don't have that line from 2019 anymore either. So it's timing. If you drop back and you turn around, somebody's in your face, that's a hard day at the office right there for any quarterback. I will say you do need some resemblance of a run game to set up the play action, though, too. And for the teams that don't do that, they have protection up front. Everything that we said, more or less, is almost personnel more than it is actual play in a sense. You know, you feel where I'm coming from, Kay? Like, it's really what do you have to actually complete those tasks? Because if you're going to do play action for a tight end drop down over the middle, what are we doing that for then? Unless you got guys that can really get down the field. Do you trust Bobby Trees to get down the field? Yeah, if you can scheme it up, but guess what Bobby Trees need? He need time to get that crossing path, get that crossing route across the field. You know what I'm saying? Like, so
it's like this needs to happen in order for this to happen.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
So I feel his pain. And again, on the fan side of stuff and just in general, you got the right to be upset. I got no pushback on that.
Yeah.
615-737-1045. Sam is in Atlanta calling next. And yes, we pronounced Atlanta correctly on the show, unlike Brian Kelly that says it with both T's. Psychopathic behavior. Anyway, Sam in Atlanta up next this morning. Hello, Sam.
Hey, guys. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. The reason why I was calling, based on what you just said, the personnel, I think what I'm seeing across the league is the teams that are actually being successful are the teams that were actually able to build a roster with a quarterback on a rookie contract.
Yes.
And the Titans, I don't think within recent years have not been awarded to that. So that means the capital is never there to get really the players that we want. We're always getting mid-tier players. And I think just until we find a way, I'm not even saying get out from under Tannehill's contract, but until that particular equation is like off the books as far as paying like a quarterback top tier money and not having resources to do anything else, really, we're still going to be at this middling stage because we just don't have the resources that other teams have as far as spending money to bring players in like we really want to, or like the fans would want to, I think.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, thank you, Sam.
Yeah.
It's a good point. And in roster building and the kind of the economics of building a Super Bowl winning team in the NFL, guys that overperform based on the dollars they're getting is the number one way to win a Super Bowl. And the most important position to do that in is quarterback.
Yeah.
It's why the Bengals Super Bowl window is wide open.
Wide open.
And even when they give Joe Burrow a big deal, they're going to backload that thing. That way it can stay open a little bit longer. And then when they have to pay him and T. Higgins and Jamar Chase, then Cincinnati will become Cincinnati again. But for right now, they're the ones who knock right now.
Run it up.
Yeah, that's right.
That's pretty much what they're doing. And they'll offload those other contracts when they get the opportunity to, but they're chasing it.
And that's what we mentioned earlier is that there's the elements of what makes things difficult on the Titans right now is you're paying a quarterback a lot of money.
Yeah.
You're paying a running back a lot of money. And you've missed on one too many first-round picks.
And especially with the O-line specifically.
Exactly.
So what's the formula then, y'all? You started at second base technically with Ryan Tannehill, career.
Yeah.
So you had to pay him sooner. So there wasn't a few years gap of quarterbacking. Then you go in free agency, that's there. You pay guys like Bud. You drop in Clowney. You drop in other guys that they brought. Harold Landry.
Yeah.
Yep.
But he's a home guy. I'm okay with that one.
Sure.
Yeah, that's what I'm. But like other guys outside, Julio.
Well, that's the biggie.
Julio and Clowney have helped put you in the predicament you're in right now. No question. I mean, there's a pick for Julio that you'd love to have back.
Yes.
To take a wide receiver with or another tackle.
The need to pay or move his money.
You restructured Ryan Tannehill's deal into the biggest cap hit for a quarterback in the NFL this year in order to get Julio Jones.
And what'd you get for it?
Nothing.
Not much.
Absolutely.
But he
not.
did the same thing to Tampa.
And
So
look,
what do you say?
It's a gamble you take when your window is wide open, and the window was more open last year than it is right now. I mean, that's for sure. So as far as the question of what's next, I mean, we'll have that conversation at length of the offseason and draft time comes around, and I'm a draft nerd, and we'll have fun with that. But
Oh, that's why you've been pushing me back on that one, Des, because you like that talk. Now.
Oh, I love the draft. I just don't love it. I just don't love it.
Okay,
now.
I feel you. There. You never elaborated that to me. Well, you never explained.
Well,
that.
you do the draft conversations when you know what your needs are after free agency. Like it, we take these things in an order of operation.
Okay, I'm with that.
Yeah,
but
just like I love recruiting, but like not when Tennessee's like, playing Alabama.
But it's just been such. Well, I guess the point is, it's been such a swing and a miss.
Yeah,
and we're seeing these misses right now.
And
There's
that part
just
of
like
it's fair. But like next year's prospects, and like what do you do next? Like, we will have that conversation.
I'm speaking of Titans in a sense. Like the swing and the misses has just been so blatant during the season right now that it crushes you.
615-737-1045 on this show that also will stand for no Coach Max slander.
Absolutely none.
None whatsoever.
Wow.
Yeah. That is one person that is not allowed to take a stray bullet this morning.
No, absolutely
No
not.
way. Frog.
When we come back, we wrap up the show. That's right. The third-ranked frogs in the country.
I was glad to see. I was just glad Alabama didn't get in. Gosh.
Words to live by.
Many people.
Closing out the show next. Remote Kayla and Will, 104.5 The Zone.
Window Nation is doing the impossible. Despite the fact that costs are up, inflation is up, and rates are rising, Window Nation is giving you 0% interest for 5 full years on new windows. That's no interest payments for 60 months. In addition to 2 windows free with every 2 you buy. This winter could be even colder than ever. Temps are already dropping. Yes, they are. And we are facing the highest energy costs in over 25 years. An all-time high, up as much as 28% from last year. Stay warmer and more comfortable. Add to your home's value and lower your energy bills with Window Nation incredible savings. 0 interest payments for 5 years plus 2 free windows with every 2 you buy. Save up to 30% on your energy heating bills and increase the value of your home too. And if your windows are sticking, drafty, crack, hard to open, or locking when they close, guess what? You need new windows. And listen to me, are your windows leaking? That can cause serious structural damage to your home and cause mold to grow. Leaky windows can allow mold to grow faster inside your home completely unnoticed. Now is the time to replace those leaky windows. Listen to the deal again. You buy 2 windows and you get 2 windows free on any style from Window Nation. There's no limit. Plus, you make no payments and there is no down payment. No payments and no interest until 2025. Save thousands on your new windows and your energy bills, all while upgrading the look and feel of your new home. The number is 866-90-NATION, or you can visit windownation.com. Again, the number is 866-90-NATION, or visit windownation.com.
1045 The Zone's annual Toy Field Toy Drive, presented by Hardee's to benefit Salvation Army's Forgotten Angels. That's tomorrow. While you're out doing your holiday shopping, remember those in need and pick up a gift or toy. Help us build a field of toys tomorrow at Nissan Stadium. Special thanks to State Water Heaters, We Go Public Transit, and Coolray. For more info, visit 1045thezone.com.
Maybe tomorrow we just spend 4 hours reading the transfer portal.
Yeah, it'd probably
I think
take
we
that
could
long.
probably spend 4 hours just like every 10 minutes. It's like
Easily.
Jimmy Holiday, wide receiver, Tennessee.
I hope they all find homes.
DJ Uiagalelei, quarterback.
That's
Clemson.
the
Like
part.
we could literally spend 4 hours with how many people have joined the portal this morning on portal day.
I can't believe
Ooh-wee.
DJU is out. Uyangale.
Yeah.
So happy portal day to all who celebrate on Jerome, Kyla, and Bill, 1045 The Zone.
Excuse me?
With the worst producer in the world, Josh Schaefer. 615-737-1045. We go to Johnny Ray in Ashland City to close things out. What's going on, Johnny Ray?
What's up, Johnny Ray?
Hey, what's going on, guys? Good morning. I'm happy to report back from Philadelphia that there will be no new hits on my criminal background report.
That's good. That's good.
My guy beat the charge.
No charges were filed, and if I could just give a quick recap of the weekend. First of all, the best cheesesteaks aren't in Philly; they're in Donkey's Place across the river in Camden, New Jersey.
Okay, interesting.
All right, a must try is Chicky and Pete's crab fries.
Yum. Those are good.
All right, and you have to have a pretzel from the Philadelphia Pretzel Company.
Oh,
okay, that's fair.
All right, these are good things to know.
And that's what I got from the game.
Yeah, right.
No, just kidding. In all seriousness, there was a sprinkling of two-tone blue in the crowd, and it was good to run across some hardcore fans out there. But, man, I am just going to say Todd Dowling has got to go. He is not the answer. And, yeah, John Robinson, shoulders a part of the blame. Maybe it's just a string of bad luck with injuries and the amount that we've had over the last couple of years, and you can't really predict that. But, Vrabel's done what he could with putting together pieces of a broken jigsaw puzzle, trying to make something out of nothing, basically. And, anytime that the fans are in the stands and they can tell what play is coming next, like the Philly fans were calling the plays before it happened. Like, I don't know. Dowling tried something different in Green Bay and it seemed to work, and then it just went right back to the same old stuff. So that was my whole take, man. You gotta get rid of that guy. He's garbage.
Thank you for the call, Johnny Ray.
Titans up.
Appreciate it. Travel advice to Johnny Ray, 1045 The Zone.
Johnny Ray.
I like it.
Made it back home, baby. Didn't need bail money.
Speaking of the transfer portal, Carolina Panthers quarterback Baker Mayfield has joined the NFL transfer portal.
Yeah.
According to Ian Rappaport, the Panthers are expected to release Baker Mayfield today. He will hit waivers later today when that is finalized.
And we were saying in here, maybe go to the Bay.
Oh,
Huh?
That's right.
I can see that being the case, man. And this is also a point, too. Watching these high draft pick quarterbacks get outed super quick, like Zach Wilson, I'm not sure what's going to come from that.
That's a great question.
But in order for you to, cut guys like Baker, Sam Darnold, Zach Wilson's in a limbo, too, these teams are saying either you are or you're not really, really fast in the NFL at that position because it holds such a heavy cap number if you're iffy on the guy.
Yep.
I'm wondering what Daniel Jones in New York. How do you commit to that?
After franchise tag next year.
After franchise?
That's what I would assume. We are back at it again, 6 a.m. tomorrow, live from Nissan Stadium. It is Toy Field,
Bring
one
your
of
coats.
the best days of the year. Bring your coats and bring your toys. Help us build a field of toys tomorrow for the Salvation Army. We are looking forward to that and hope to see you stopping by with us for our fast 4 hours in the morning. We will run through all of the transfer portal, Ron Slay, and campus visits as always. But for right now, Ramon Foster gives you some uplifting words that might have some holiday cheer for you as well to make your holiday season bright and merry.
Don't let the Philly game take over your entire week, okay?